People will jump in, and you'll see me look down every once in a while at my phone because depending on what platform they're watching it from, sometimes their names won't always pop up. So yeah, buddy. All right. Well, guess what? We are live. What is up, everybody? And listen, today I have, man, I don't even know where to begin. It's such an honor to be sitting here with the legend himself. And I just got done telling him this before we went live. I think we should all have a statue made of this guy here in America because he is such a legend. The infamous Mark Miller. Welcome to Pendergast. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your kind words. It's ridiculous. Like you're my new best friend. You know what I mean? How you doing? How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good. Sitting here, chatting with the legend himself, man. So yeah, listen, we got a lot of things to cover and a lot of things I want to talk about. Obviously, I want to start at the beginning, right? So, how did Mark Miller get into motorcycles himself? Like, who introduced you to the wonderful world of two wheels?
I came in really late. Always asked for a bike from my parents since I was a little tiny kid, and they never gave me one. Never got one for Christmas or birthday. And I was like, "Come on, guys, I want a bike. I want a bike." And they said, "We don't know anybody that rides bikes. I mean, we're living in the city. We're not like lucky like you hear these kids. Oh, we had a field bike. We had, we ride bikes around the ranch and since I was 2. It's like I wish I had your life, man. But so just eventually started hiding them from my parents in high school. Just little 70s, like XL 70s and Trail 90s. Like everyone's owned a Trail 90, pretty much a Passport, and just starts freaking just going crazy around the city to and from high school, looking like a complete idiot. All the girls are like, "Oh, what is that?
Yeah, what is this guy doing?" Right? Yeah.
But we didn't care. A couple of us, we just hide them down the street at friends' houses and stuff. Keep them from my mom, who's a emergency room nurse at a freaking hospital. So she's like, "You're not getting a motorcycle. You'll kill yourself. I know you." I'm like, "No, I promise." So anyway, graduated at 17 years old, moved out within 2 weeks, had a bike within a week. And the first bike I was able to afford was like a 1981 Suzuki GS 1100 for $800. And
Nice.
just crazy. I mean, you'd scrape the engine when you went through the corners, but it was fast. It was 4 valves per cylinder, and I couldn't believe it. It was just so much power. I think it's about 130 horsepower or something, which I think is 1100. Anyway, just absolutely loved it. And then it just sort of like, when I got to university because I wanted to go racing, but we didn't know anything about it. So my dad said, "What's your second choice?" I said, "I'd like to be a fighter pilot if possible." And I had shit grades in high school. So I went to junior college, got my grades up, kind of put my head down for a change. Got enough grades to go to a school in northern Arizona at a flight school called Embry-Riddle, which like Michael Barnes went to in Florida and a couple other cats. But there was
my dad actually went to Embry-Riddle.
Who did?
My dad.
Never.
Yeah. My dad was a fighter pilot in the Navy. He did the same thing Tom Cruise did in Top Gun, man. That's how I grew up. Yep. It was proper. That's where my love of speed. And he used to take me riding on his bikes. I used to sit on his tank with my hands on top of his hands. And yeah, that's where my
crazy.
Love. Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it?
So my grandfather was in World War II and he flew P-51 Mustangs at 19 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Wow. No, that's man, bro. I know I couldn't. It's especially back in those days and going to war, right? It's but what a proper plane, Mark.
That like analog is like cables and 1500 horsepower and
right. And the raw just vibration of everything, it's yeah.
You see old pictures of your family, like your grandfather or whatever, and you're like, damn, we kind of look alike a little bit. It's like I never seen him young before, but when you see a young photo of him, say 20 years old, you're like, no, we're a lot alike.
Right. I kind of look like just like him. Yeah, I get the same thing. There's a picture of my great grandpa, and I look a lot. I mean, I got his nose and his ears, and it's kind of crazy, actually.
It's like, damn, I was a handsome kid back in, you don't know, kind of a big round older man, and you're like, when you were young, look at you with, and grandma was like pretty and stuff. You're like, oh, damn, dude, they're like 20 years old, and he went to the Pacific Theater, so he was doing Japan and all the islands and crap, and he actually got shot down at some point and got hidden. He got shot down over China or something, and he got by some locals who were pro-American, and he had to hide out for a couple of weeks, like under a fucking shed or something. Crazy.
That's I mean, dude, just imagine that, right? Being in a whole new country, at war, and you done got shot down on their territory, right? It's yeah, that's not a yeah.
So it just runs in our blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, man. It's crazy the similarity, and this is what I love about doing what I do on the podcast, man. I've been such a fan of the sport for such a long time. Like I said, I grew up watching you, Valentina Rossi, dude, Kevin Swanch, Mick Doing. So I've been watching road racing a long time, and to be able to sit down and talk to people like this and find out exactly a lot that we have in common with each other is it's an honor.
Dude, it's an honor to meet guys that like Kevin Schwantz. I got to know him a little bit. He came to Macau Grand Prix out in China and Hong Kong, near Hong Kong, 1 year for like a 50th anniversary, 40th anniversary, and he won it. So I got third once. I got on the podium in 2000, and he was there 1 year, bro, and we were the last ones to close down the fucking town. Me and Kevin Schwantz. I'm like, this is Kevin Schwantz, bro. This is Kevin fucking Schwantz.
Right?
He kind of like knows my name, and he says, "What's up, Mark?" Like, you know, he sees me in the I'm like, Kevin Schwantz, dude, we got shit last night. Like, we were anyway. They're cool people. And the other guy was my hero, was Scott Russell.
Yes, yeah, me too.
He's the salt of the earth, man. We ended up being teammates in Belgium for a supermoto thing out there a couple of years, and I got to know him even better and better. And I mean, these are good people. You know, all our old heroes. They're just blokes, baby. They're just good guys.
Yeah, well, also one of my heroes growing up too was Doug Chandler, man. What a cool guy, man. I didn't have hang out with him, but I met him several times. I still got his helmet signed in my other room. It's yeah, I call that the proper days of superbike racing before everybody rides the PlayStation bikes and the Xbox bikes is that everybody play races now. So yeah, man, dude. So tell me about spending a little time with Kevin Schwantz, man. I mean. So Mark, last night I had Luke Hedger on. He's a BSB rider. He's a good mate of mine, and he actually at Goodwill Festival rode his '93 Suzuki 500 Grand Prix bike.
You're joking?
No, and I was like, bro, how was that? And it was hard. It was hard for him to express it, right? Because what a feeling, It's not like he's racing it so he don't get to. But he said there was a back straight you can actually get into it. And he's like, holy fuck, are you kidding me right now?
It weighs like 300 pounds or some shit.
Bro, Daniel, Mark.
Fucking computer wouldn't connect, dude. I've been running. I've got this thing I tried to connect, this thing I tried to connect, and then that thing that was supposed to connect. So yeah, I've been running around. Sorry. Yeah, anyway. I was like, of all fucking nights for the computer not to goddamn work.
Fuck that computer.
Yeah, right. Well, you're here now.
I was about to throw this bitch in the street.
I know that's right.
Anyway, sorry I'm late, guys.
No, you're good, man.
Mark.
Daniel.
Do what? Sorry, I didn't hear
you. Hi, Dan. I'm Mark. What's up? Nice to meet you.
Oh, Mark, you and I have chatted a long time ago briefly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, long time ago. You were selling a set of leathers, and I was like, hey, what sizes are those? And you sent me like, hey, this might work. I was like, okay, let me see if I can come up with money. I never could come up with money.
Oh, Daniel Schumack, I know you, right?
Yeah, we're friends on Facebook and such.
I don't know your face as well, but I know your name.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook.
Yeah, bro. I see you on there all the time.
Yeah,
very cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited and super finally actually have a conversation with you. Yes.
Me too. Absolutely. Yeah. So Daniel, we was actually talking about Mark Miller spent some time with Kevin Swanch at the Macau, man. What, bro?
Well,
what an honor it was.
Did Kevin use both wheels that year, or was he just doing wheelies the whole time?
Well, the year that he raced, I wasn't there. It was in the 90s or something.
Yeah.
It did wheelies the whole time by a country mile. And, he was on a 500 like no one else was. But he was the last American to win it. I don't think any other American has won Macau. I got third in 2000 with the Attack Performance. It was an R71, which is an R1 engine and R7 chassis, which like to this day one of the best bikes I ever ridden. But the top three were the same thing. They were R71s, and it was Michael Rudder won it, and David Jeffries.
DJ,
You're on the podium with my dumb ass with American.
Oh, dude.
And I'm like, what? And there's like 170 photographers and this big grandstands. And I mean, it was like retarded.
Awesome.
That was my experience. I mean, I did it 17 times, but Kevin only did it once or something, but he was back for like this 30th anniversary or 40th anniversary. And dude, I'm telling you, hand on heart, it was him and I to the end. We were the last people standing at the end of the night. We had to like race the next. I had to race the next night. He was just there as an ambassador, or, you know, just forget. But it was, dude, he's a real guy. Like he's a real bullet, a little good bro. You know, like we ended up friends. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I randomly ran into him at Road Atlanta one year. I was corner marshaling, and just, he was hanging out at went up out of the S's. He randomly was hanging out with me and my dad, just bullshit. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, I've got a world champion hanging out with me, and I'm sitting there talking racing, and like he and I have a mutual friend, and we're talking about that. And it's just like, it's like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. You know, it's like, it's really bizarre talking. But you're right. He is the absolute nicest guy on the planet, and will just bullshit with anybody. He doesn't care.
I'll tell you, the weirdest thing was a few months later, I don't know if we were at Daytona or Laguna Seca or somewhere that he was at. And I walked up to the pit wall. I think I was just watching, you know, back in the day, it was probably Roger Lee Hayden and these guys. And I just goes, "Hey, Mark." And I was like, "Hey, Mark." And I look over and I'm like, and he's looking, and there's Kevin Schwantz, and he's going, "Me, hello." You know, he's like, "What's up, Mark?" It's Kevin Schwantz. "What's up, dude? Yeah, man, we're friends. I forgot." Like I was like, the dude fucking knew my first name. I couldn't believe it. It's funny this happened with Scott Russell.
Oh, Scott's the best. I was at Vintage Fest, which I will discuss this with you. I had my friend Mark White who races an EBR, and he was like, "Tell Mark he needs to come to Vintage Fest." We'll talk about that in a minute. But literally, I was corner marshaling at Vintage Fest, and Scott was just walking through, and I go, "Scott, you look good on the bike," and he just turns around and starts walking toward me. I'm like, "Well, I guess we're about to have a conversation with Scott Russell. This is another weird one." But yeah, and like my best friend who we lost about 3.5, 4 years ago, his favorite rider was Scott Russell, and he walked off, and I'm damn near in tears. I'm calling my best friend's wife, like, "You have no clue who I just talked to." And I was like, "This is insane."
Dude, 1 year we
so
yeah.
I do what now? Sorry.
You kept cutting in and out. You kept cutting in and out, Daniel.
Oh shit! I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi.
Listen,
but no, like
we
Scott
call
Russell
it the Taco Bell
me.
internet.
Yeah, well, I pay enough for this freaking internet that's supposed to work, but apparently it's not wanting to work tonight. But sorry, guys.
It's okay. It's okay.
But
yeah, so go ahead, Daniel.
But no, so like Scott Russell was just kind of walked up, and we had a 15, 20-minute conversation about that Piero Bond that he was riding with a Chaz Davies World Superbike motor in it. And he was like, "I don't know what to do with this thing. You just plug this thing up and it tells you everything that's going on." And I'm like, "You're talking the wrong dude, man. Like, you guys have fun." And Jeff May was on his EBR, the World Superbike, and he took off and hid. But yeah, it was Scott Russell's another one that's just the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, he's my number one in my lifetime, because I was like whole 93 Daytona, him in Poland, and then like Scott falling down and picking the bike up, jumping over it, going from dead last to first. You know, that was when I was so impressed. I was just absolutely the youngest, you know, I'm 20 something, early 20s or whatever. And Scott Russell was larger than life. You know, he was just the man. He was getting all those Daytona watches and getting all those pole positions and winning several in a row. And it's just like, he was a god.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we met.
He is a god. Yes.
Fast forward however many years, we're teammates, and we show up in Belgium for a Supermoto gig, and we were part of the American team, and I got to know him a little bit. And then later on, we're at Laguna Seca, both watching Ben Spies or something win races. And Scott and I ended up ending up at the end, only the two of us together in this hotel, still drinking. It's the same thing as Kevin. Like, they're real men. Like, these are fucking, you're like, oh, they're cool. They ride by the seat of their pants, and they're like these rock stars. Behind the scenes, they're the same guys. Like, they've got all this talent and the zest for life that just bleeds. And every time they walk in the room, I think it's like Donald Trump. You know, they say he sucks the oxygen out. People don't even have to know who they are, but they just stand so straight, and they're just so they've been and done so much. They've been around the world and they've raced so many badass bikes, and they got this self-confidence that you just want some of that, you know?
Yeah. The aura that certain people put out, you just it hits you in a way that is unexpected, and you'll never forget it, right? And you're right. Yeah, people are just regular. So I met Ricardo Rossi in MotoGP in Texas, and we ended up hanging out, and he brought me inside the pits in the garage, and it was just like, well, once we got behind that wall and away from everybody, he was just, dude, he was asking me questions about my pro. I mean, he was just a down to earth, regular guy that has a talent that we mere mortals would love to have, right? And but other than that, that's the only difference.
To win.
Yeah, the desire to win. You're right. So we actually have a question from Diane. What is up, Diane? She says, Mark, did you race the Macau when Glenn? Man, I can't even say his last name.
Dark.
Yeah,
it sounds familiar. Was he? What country was he from? I wonder. Was he American?
I'm not sure.
We'll find out in a minute.
Yeah, we'll find out in a minute. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then
17 years. So if he was there from whenever I was there, it's of course. Yeah. Glenn Zarek, yeah, man. That sounds like a name.
American.
Yeah. That sounds familiar. Although I don't know. I mean, for sure, but it sure sounds familiar. I'd have to know the year. Scott Russell came by me on that thing, and I was standing still.
Yeah,
Mark was racing that race, that the big money twins race that they do every year down there. Mark's my buddy that races the EBR 1190, or one of them.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, those are great bikes, man. I actually got my own one.
I wanted to get into your whole EBR stint, man, because that's I always thought they were beautiful machines. I never had the honor of actually riding one.
Oh, wow. They're great.
Yeah, I heard a lot of great things from them. So what did you think about the EBR actually as a super bike?
The very first time I ever rode one is when a team from Wales, from the UK, they bought a bunch and whatever, got them supplied by Eric Buell. And I got invited to the Macau Grand Prix from that team. And they brought EBRs to fucking China, through crates and all this crazy stuff. And the very first time I ever rode it was through the Armco, lined in steel. And the track is it's a mass start. It's a short circuit, but threads through like Las Vegas of Asia.
Yeah.
And you go up a mountain and it gets really twisty and blind. You can't see. You're just going. You have to know the track to go fast. And I've been there several times before that. But the very first time I rode the EBR was at Macau, and I was like going down. I was like, okay, just out of the pits, blah, blah, blah. And there was a big group of us first day. All right, everyone's taking it easy. It's the first day. The track's green. It's got diesel fuel all over it and shit. And some of the cars, they do Formula 3000 or Formula 3 and World Touring cars. Anyway,
so open wheel cars, yeah.
Long story short, dude, I was like behind Guy Martin or something. And I go in on this EBR, which has that stupid, I say. I only say that because I've always wanted to have EBR with the fucking front end off of a normal bike, because it would be, I think, a little better on massive break-in when those World Superbike built it, fucking Brembos and the whole Master and everything would be probably slightly better feel. But moral of the story is, it does the bike that Eric Buell designed has the fuel wrapped around the engine in the frame that's hollow, which means all this center of gravity is down there. And it's got this single rotor, which means you just don't have all this gyroscopic effect on it. And it's weird. Anyway, in the rake and trail, there's no rising link on the rear swing arm. It's bolted straight to it. So it's a little different the way the rising, it doesn't get progressive. Anyway, it was so good in the corners that I like la 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 flying in the corners. And I was like, I kept running into the back of guys, like quite literally. I was like, what is this weird contraption I'm riding? It's like crazy good in the corners, and it's all from the engineering. It's all from the mathematics that went into it. And it took a while to understand how to go fast on it. But once you understood, it's all about entrance speed and corner speed, and using that 1200 cc twin. Think about that. How those must be like coffee cans,
right?
The only thing it didn't have is top speed, and it didn't have like the best electronics as far as compared to when we eventually were racing against more modern bikes, like the latest BMW S whatever 1000. They had a little bit more of this, kind of like different
analog
exhaust and whatever the fuck. we were basically connected to and almost run into guys. So you had to be really careful. You couldn't really outbrake guys. You can draft them on the straight, but boy, if you could get free, like Lorenzo, he loves a free track. It was just like, it was sick. It was really fun. It was actually more fun to ride that bike than any other bike.
So, man, the Macau, Mark, how did you learn the Macau? Did you fly out there and actually ride in a car around the track?
Oh man, I was riding for Chuck Graves. I was actually Graves Motorsports' very first ever AMA rider when they brought out the new R1. We kind of collaborated with Yamaha, and they think nobody was going to ride it. So we all got together and said we're going to go up against Arion Honda in the Formula Extreme class because they were just killing everything. They were winning every race, and that wasn't fair. So we were like, Yamaha's got this new bike that's coming out, which is like a 600 with 1,000 engine in it, if you remember.
Yeah.
Brand new, the first generation R1.
Yep. 98. Yep.
So at the end of that year, we won a race and had some fun. Chuck says to me, he's like, hey, I go race in China every year. I've been doing it for years. Do you want to come? I've got 2 slots if you want to try to come with me at the end of the season. It's like November. And I'm like, what is it? Macau? What is that? Like Thailand? What is that? Like you racing on scooters? I mean, I didn't understand. Nobody knows. It's like Grand Prix. Is it a Grand Prix? Is it like, Rossi and these guys? No, it's a street race. Would you like to try it out? And I was like, I'm a street squid anyway. Like I come from the canyons of northern Arizona. I was going to school out there and cut my teeth on the streets. And I went road racing, short circuit racing, just because I felt I could do it. And I got kicked out of the Air Force, by the way. We missed that part. But I went in to be a fighter pilot, and I got all the way to the fucking background check, and they're like, you have 11 speeding tickets. You 10. You don't follow the rules. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that story from a road racer.
5 years of college, like busting my ass. Actually studied and did physics 3 and shit just to get the degree. And then you get all the way to the end, they're like, yeah, we can't trust you. I'm like, I get it. I get it. Yeah. You don't put somebody in a fucking F-35 or F-16 and go, I'm going to do whatever I want. Buzz the tower.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, racing. More of the story is, I forget. We got out to China, and the first time I ever saw it was from the backseat of a taxi. And I could not fucking believe it. Like, we're going to race between this lined Armco wall. And anyway, so that was the first time I saw it. There's no way to learn it. There's no other way. Like the TT had, I had one David Jeffries onboard video, the VHS or DVD that I watched 3 times a day leading up to that. But Macau was a complete unknown.
Man, that's crazy. So, I went to Arizona. I lived in Arizona for a little while. I lived in Peoria. So I went to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. Billy Pedro said, "What's up?" Billy says, "White Spear Highway, 89." Yep. Prescott, Arizona.
Hey, what's up, Billy? What's up, Billy? I know,
yeah, man. Billy's awesome, man. He's yeah. Billy's great, dude, man. He's cool, man.
That's 89A from Prescott to Wickenburg. It's just a sick. I don't know if it's 17 miles or something, but we used to do it like once a day, like twice a day, every day, even with 3 jobs and credits and a whole, full-time university. We had to get out there at least once a day. And I tell you what, just a racetrack. There's no cars. No. It was just a racetrack. And I was on an 86 VFR 750 back then. I bought it off of a school credit card. Nice. Anyway, so yeah.
That's
what it is. You got out there and you did it. Who cares?
The problem is now you fast forward to a bunch of years in AMA and a bunch of other stuff, and then I'm sitting in between Armco on this stupid public road again, and they're like, well, there's no cars going the other way, there's no cops. Now you got this Graves Yamaha freaking monster, badass tires, badass brakes, and big forks, like white 1986 750 VFR, and now I'm basically paid to race this killer 6 stiff gusseted frame swing arm, and I'm riding on the public road again, but I'm a professional racer in leathers. It's like, it was so cool, man. The only thing about Macau, I know this whole thing shouldn't be about Macau, but you could not make a fucking mistake. Like, you couldn't make one mistake or you're paralyzed. Like, it was the strangest, oddest thing is that, okay, go fast, but you're like, you can't run off. You can't outbrake yourself except for one corner. And if you're just going to go bam, 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 and just smush. And I seen it. I seen fatalities right in front of me. I mean, it was seriously dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, the Isle of Man is dangerous too, right? So how does let me ask you this, Mark. How do you prepare yourself for the Macau versus the TT? What's the difference?
Macau Grand Prix started off as a bit of a holiday race. We'd go to Thailand for a week and a half afterwards and just drink and have fun. It was the end of the year for all the BSB guys. It was the end of the year for any of the AMA guys. There's like three Americans or 2 Americans. There was a few Italians, a few this. It was basically everybody just saying, right, all the professional obligations are done. We can just let our hair down and tiptoe around here and put on a show. But the problem is when we got fourth the very first year ever, we got fourth the very second year ever, and I got third the third year riding my AMA bikes. And of course, Americans in the modern era, these are all TT stars and shit. Like I said, I was on the podium with fucking DJ and Michael Rudder. Rudder won, you know, DJ was the fastest guy at the TT at the time. He was a superstar.
Yeah, he was
I didn't know nothing about nothing. All I knew is I had my badass AMA bike, and they said, Chuck was like, hey, you want to come? I'm like, all right, you know, let's check it out. And all we had to do is just ride the bike well and not kill ourselves. But dude, when I got third, which is the third year, I got to sit behind DJ and Rudder for like, I was in second for 7 laps, and then DJ got by, and I was just watching these cats, and they're like full tilt nearly. I mean, probably 94%, 92%, but that's pretty fast. Like that's still David Jeffries, a big boy, you know, he's a big lad. Like he got killed unfortunately in 2002. He was leaving black stripes all the way out of the corners on his Pirellis and shit. And I'm just looking at it going, I ain't brave enough for that, guys. Like, crack on. Like, this is so fun to watch. But hey, I think I got third here. I might get a podium. You know, what the hell? I have to go drink tonight not with Kevin Schwantz, but with all the lads. But it was fun just watching them. And you don't go flat out, but the guys up front it kind of pushes you up. You know, everybody gives up just a little bit just in a battle. But it wasn't a cakewalk. It wasn't. They say, "Oh, the holiday race." It's like not in the front. Like it's a holiday race for 8th, but it wasn't for the top 5.
Yeah.
But you just don't try not to make an error. But you know what, dude? Seriously, honestly, you put the helmet on, you flip that visor down, you're gonna kind of go as fast as you can without like really being stupid. But you can't hold back. You know that we do not have that in us. Yeah. Like, it's impossible. You put a little feather in front of a kitten, and it goes, you know, it tries to grab. We have no choice. It's just in our DNA. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. I couldn't imagine. I watched the Macau. Actually, a buddy of mine, Joey Thompson, was out there at the Macau. Peter Hickman won the Macau this year, right? I actually met Peter. Sorry, Mark. What would you say?
Watch this year.
Yeah. So I met Peter. I went to Cadwell Park for a BSB race this year.
Oh, right.
So Cadwell is my favorite racetrack in the world, and BSB is my favorite race series in the world. And the main reason why is because they're super bikes, Mark. Obviously, you already know their electronics are way dumbed down. They hardly have any, right? And to me, that's old school proper racing.
Yeah,
and exciting.
That's the best racing in the world.
It is. Did you ever spend any time out there in BSB at all? Like, any tracks?
I only did a couple. I'm trying to think. I did a race in Scotland, and I did a race in Wales. There was another one. We did a couple, but dude, I was in the back, baby. I was just trying to get some signatures to qualify for the TT license.
Yeah.
And so my team from Wales, you know, they're like, we had also Aprilia RSV. Is that what they are? RSV4s, right?
Yeah, the RSV4.
That was a split lift team, wasn't it?
The what? Split lath?
Split lift team, split lift, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did some Thunder Sport, which is their sort of like their semi-national series, which is televised and stuff. And we got like third, then second, and then I won the finale, which was really cool. I didn't really know anything about it. Later on, I found it's like, no, it's pretty good. You know, it's pretty deep field there. But once we got to the AMA, and actually Jake Zemke was there for the weekend that I was at one of them. He had been hired by a team to come over. They paid him a little bit of money, which is kind of rare in BSB. A lot of those guys have to find money and then buy a ride. There's like 4 that don't. But Jake was sort of replacing either an injured rider or somebody who got sacked or something. And he was in the back too. Like, it was no joke unless you knew a lot of those guys have been there since 600s or the 400s and the 600s, and then they go super stock, and then they go super bike, and they ain't messing about, you know, like they ain't messing around. So BSB is proper fast, and those fucking assholes would bring those BSB bikes to the Macau Grand Prix at the end of the year, And they're like back in the day when I was like doing it kind of competitively, they were world superbike spec. I mean, BSB bikes were fucking long swing arms, aluminum tanks, the huge forks, and the fucking wheels and electronics. They were like multi-$100,000 machinery in BSB. So that just speaks very highly of their series.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I've been to a lot of races, MotoGP, World Super. I haven't not World Superbike, but Moto America, MotoGP, and BSB. What I find that we do the best out of anybody in Moto America is our open pit policy, which means at little kids that look up to the riders, or hell, even us adults that grew up in the game for a long time, go and want to get a picture with Jake Guy. It's very feasible and easy to do, right? You don't have to have a special pit pass or know somebody to get a special permit or whatever it is, right? So I think that if all other organizations actually did that same concept, it would help the series, everybody in the whole motorcycle sport worldwide, right? Yes, they do have fan walks, you're right, but during fan walks, which I've been on many, very few riders actually come out of the garages, right? There are some that do, but not all of them come out. And when they do, it's very short, limited of time, right?
BSB had a thing, at least just a couple of years ago, where they'd all have to. It was compulsory. You'd have to put out a big table in front of your garage, and there would be, I mean, seriously, thousands of people in the queue just to go in to get the posters from their favorite guys. So they were making a point to have in BSB to have a signature every weekend. It was kind of a popular thing with the kids.
Yeah, at Cadwell, the pits are way down there at the bottom, so you actually got to cross the track to actually get to the main pits, right? For all the superbike guys are, and then all the super sport guys are up here on the top. But you don't really need a pass there. Cadwell's one of the only ones because you could stand there because the riders have to pass through there, right? So you're guaranteed to see them, and they're all super nice and friendly, just like all of them, right? Well, there are some riders that I looked up to and I met and wanted a picture, and they just told me flat out no and turned around and walked away. But again, but Mark,
who did that to you?
Casey Stoner.
Okay,
dude, and so let me tell you my Jorge Lorenzo story real quick. I was at Indy. It was 2009, I think. And I had so my son, his name is Hayden Rossi after Nicky Hayden and Valentino. Okay, so and I got a Valentino Rossi tattoo. I got a Marco Simicelli tattoo because he was one of my favorites. But anyway, so I'm standing there and in front of the Clinic Mobile, and here comes Jorge Lorenzo, right, up on a scooter. I got my Rossi hat, my Rossi shirt on, and I was like, Jorge, I need to get a picture, right? And he just looks at me and goes in. So the guy that was riding the scooter, I was like, hey, man, I really want to get a picture of Jorge. He says, well, you're a big Valentino Rossi fan. So I really quickly said, well, actually, it's my dad. This is my first time here. He bought me the hat and the shirt, but I really like Jorge, and I didn't want to hurt my dad's feelings, right? So he said, if you take off your shirt and your hat, he'll give you a picture.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So I took off my hat and my shirt, man, just to get a picture of Jorge. I'm not gonna lie, that's that fanboy, right? Like, yeah,
yeah.
Hey, I made it happen, right? But yeah, that was one. But to have Casey Stoner flat out tell me no, dude, it hurt my feelings. But I have the poster signed by Casey because my brother's girlfriend at the time, I gave her the poster, and she turned around, walked right up to him, and he signed it, and I was like, fuck.
It's funny, you see these behind the scenes or lifestyles.
It's amazing how it worked out like that.
Okay. I was just gonna say, you see Mark Marquez, he actually goes around the paddock, like outside in like a private car, to make sure that his merchandise is like set up right. You can
really
see, oh yeah, like these guys are businessmen now. Like you see Rossi with the VR46 apparel. Like all these guys are. I think a lot of their money comes from the merchandising. It's funny that you don't want to take a picture with you unless you're wearing his swag,
right? I mean,
kind of like a conflict. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. It's bullshit, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it just goes. But also, Mark, you know what I loved about that? It shows the real rivalry between him and Rossi, right? Mm-hmm. And that's something that our sport, I think, is kind of missing in these days, right? Everybody's touchy, feely, which is fine. Trust me, I get it. I like to see
a little bit long in the tooth, right?
Like, yeah.
Great kid, of course, but fuck off. Like, could you fucking grow a pair, man? Let's see some talk some shit like Scott Russell.
Exactly. Let's talk some shit. Like, I don't give a shit what you're gonna do because you're not gonna win this race
Oh,
today.
you just took down, broke my leg, but bro, I love you. Give me a hug. It's like,
nah.
That's kind of nice, but fuck off. It's motorcycle racing, boys. Let's go.
Let's get it right. So, did you have anybody when you was racing where you used to talk shit to like that all the time?
Man, that would be. I don't even want to go there. Like,
okay,
I'm so old and so zen now. Like, I don't even want to go. There was a couple of dickheads where just like, you're dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like going around the outside and then just fucking stopping when you know I can't. Like just stupid things. And when it happened more than twice, you're like, you're dangerous. Like you're a dickhead, you know. Like anyway, it wasn't that. It's all good, man. It's you know. You have a certain bond and you hear it, but it's a fact. When you ride with the good guys are good. You know, like they don't want to crash. They don't want to hit you either and jeopardize losing time. You know what I mean? Like if you get it like, oh, fuck off and you keep going, you just lost 2 seconds. Well, half a tenth is so important in short circuit racing. But at the TT, it's a whole nother thing in Macau. It's like there's a lot of room for like you got to give a little bit extra room because you could kill somebody. And so there's that level of respect. So, but as far as rivalries, I mean, there's more rivalries within the team, you know, like sometimes you got a lot of egos in there and stuff, and you don't hear a lot about it, but you hear a lot about it behind the scenes. People fall out quite often, and there's a little bit of friction between different mechanics or a rider and team manager or something. That happens more than you know. Because you're all wanting to win, or they work really hard and you're like just off a little bit, or you're full of piss ready to go and the bike is subpar in a certain way that is really kind of on them. So there's always shit. That's why I race, but in public, I think that the politicians have made Dorna, have made MotoGP just a tiny bit too nice, right?
Yeah, facts. I 110% agree. I know Daniel agrees, and I'm sure most everybody else that's watching this or is going to listen to it later is going to agree. It's because you see pictures of like Alicia Spargo and Jorge Martin kissing in the mouth, and dude, and just all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, dude, what is going on with the sport, especially in MotoGP? I just don't get it. Right? We don't.
Be honest, because you know what I mean. Like I have a sneaky suspicion that Martin, who actually I've met and ridden with in Jerez at a journalistic gig with all Ducatis. Holy crap, these kids are fast.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that Martin is just like a little bit of a ghetto rat. Like he's like compared to the other guys, you hear like you see like Paul Aspargus or I call him asparagus. Yeah. You kind of see like, and they're kind of just like, I'm just saying what I see now. I'm not talking any shit.
No, yeah.
Martin's a little darker than the rest of the guys, and he hasn't really come up through all the fucking series, and like he's not this. And you can see there's a tiny bit of like standoffishness between the Spanish gods, the monarchy, and like Martin. And Martin's using. He's like, fuck you, guys. I didn't get the Ducati. You didn't give me the factory ride. I'm smoking Bastianini all goddamn year. Kiss my fucking ass. And you know what?
He was the fastest guy all year.
Yeah.
He was definitely the fastest guy. He was. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. He was definitely the fastest guy all year.
He's got 100,000 euros in the bank account. He ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? Like compared to the other guys.
Yeah. No, and you know what? That I think Jorge Martin's got the most natural talent. I wanted to see him win the title so bad. So obviously, Mark, you've seen it, the predicament. So Ducati course, especially Davide, did not want Jorge to win the title. Yes, they wanted Ducati to, but they were in such a predicament that if he did, they were going to kick Bastianini. They were going to switch teams, right, with him and Jorge. But now with Marquez being on Team Gresini, they're even in more of a predicament. Because Marquez I think he's going to really do good on this Ducati this year, right?
How could he not? It's
right.
He's certain he's going to fucking do well. Like he's going to probably do really well.
And if he ends up winning the title, then Ducati's really like, what are they just going to kick Pecco off the bike? Or, again, same thing. Enea Bastianini, they don't want the satellite team to have the number one plate.
I never even considered that if Marquez has a great year, Marc Marquez, not his brother, not his teammate, right?
Yeah.
Could we see Marc Marquez on the factory Ducati team? That would be insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of just fun as a soap opera of it all. It's like, Now he's sitting in red. Like, that's Mark Marquez. Dude, the boy, it's not like he forgot how to ride. Is he 31? I mean, like, prime. That's the best years. Actually, you're smarter. He probably knows what he's got. You know, of course, he was quick and he was smiling the first couple sessions during that test. Dude, if the bike stops and the bike turns and the bike has corner speed and it drives and it's got grip, you don't think Mark Marquez has got the skill set to simply do what the professor on board needs to do to make that fucking machine go around a circle? Like, it's mathematically certain he's going to be great. Honda's just go every time. Every single Honda loses a front by the end of the race. Every set.
It is, and you know it's funny. When I was watching the very first test, when what was it? Mir come out on the new Honda, right? And Marquez actually slowed down and got behind him and took a long look at the new Honda, because you know, dude, he's been with Honda so long. You know, it was a big family ordeal, you know, and feelings and all this, but he's still curious of what the new Honda looked like, right, compared to the 2023 bike. But man, what a proper year it's going to be. Look, we went on this whole tangent on MotoGP, which is fine. But I want to get back on to like the TT. Mark, explain to everybody, because the TT is not a race that like me and Mark can go to and sign up and be like, oh, we're going to go race the TT this year. Isn't it an invitation only, where you got to be invited?
So the Macau Grand Prix is invitation only. The TT, you can ask, you can sign up, you can request, but they're very particular, and they've always been particular. And this is like some of the guys even in the back of the Isle Of ManTT, they're fast, actually, really good. When you start getting up near the front, the top 15, they're just seriously experienced. You know, they're Irish, Scottish, English. They've been racing on the roads all over the UK, and also BSB, and they're proper talented young men. But they reject, I was told by the government, you know, who was my employer, the guy that would invite me as a guest. He would say stuff like, you know, we have to reject about 250 entries every year of guys who are asking for an entry, and we have to limit it. Used to be they would limit it to, they would get like about 100 allowed, and only 80 would start if you qualified. And now they've knocked that back to like 56. So it's becoming, because there was so much traffic, they were interfering with the end of the races, and it's dangerous with Peter Hickman on a super stock bike doing off 136, and you're coming up on some kid that's, you know, like going another 38 seconds slower a lap or something, and it was dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
So they've limited it to, and it pissed some guys off. I know some guys behind the scenes that were like, you know, like, hey, I didn't get my entry this year. They didn't. I've been there 11 years, and like I'm one of the guys, and they wouldn't give me an entry, because I'm like, well, what was your last lap time? What was your last finish? He's like, I'm like, you know, with racing, you always earn it. It's always results are results. Like, you know, you hear these guys back in the day, they're saying, oh, they don't show any of the privateers back in the AMA coverage. It's like, they never show anybody in 29th place. It's like, they don't got time, bro. Like, you gotta get up to the front. You gotta earn it. It's just a fact. That's why racing is so nice. And, you know, in the world, we have so many people holding the hand of everybody doing average. I'm not saying that the guys in the back don't deserve shit. I'm just saying that if you want to be on TV, you gotta find a way to get a good bike and ride your fucking balls off, and then you can be on TV.
That's a fact. Not everybody deserves a trophy just because you show up, participated, right? Yeah. So
no, but the TT is you can get, once you're kind of in the club, just like anything. Once you get in there, it's very difficult, and a lot of guys try to go there for bucket lists, and they either don't get the entry, or they get in, they get to do it 1 year, and honestly, they were kind of like dangerous, or they didn't take it too seriously, or they didn't show up prepared. It's 260 corners per lap. You need to know where you're going. You need to watch fucking 4 laps a day, a year in advance, just to know where the hell you're going if you want to show up prepared. So they once you get in there, though, once you get in and you prove that you're safe, first of all, and you're competent, you know, you're good, you're quick, you're not wrecking machinery, you're not blowing up things, you're not whatever. Then once you get on the inside, just like anything, you just don't piss too many people off, and you can keep going back and then growing your your results, your profile, your whatever. And luckily we were able to do. I did 46 starts at the TT.
It's proper, bro. That's on my bucket list. I want to go to the TT. That's my favorite race of the year. Such a beautiful man. It's like, so when I went to Cadwell and I was watching them jump the mountain, it was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in real life. Right. I was like, oh my God, this is so, I just can't explain it. It's hard, but at the Isle of ManTT would be just, standing so close when you loons with the ball sack as big as the world come flying by, wide open. It's there's no other feeling like it. I mean, I get the buzz just watching it on TV.
I never watched it until I ran out of fuel a couple times, and you had to sit there, and these guys go, "Battle, I got 45 minutes to wait," or whatever, or another 2 races, whatever. And you see these guys come by as a spectator, and it's like
you're like, fuck yeah,
loud, man. But when you're on the bike, it's at least you're in control. But it is as gnarly. I'm not messing. I ain't fucking talking shit at all. When you're on the bike at the TP, especially 1,000, it's mental. It's mental. It's so narrow, and you don't get that on TV. But you're literally just going. And you're like, one little tiny mistake, you're like, and it happens every year. I know like 20 guys who have died personally, like, what's up, Dean? What's up? What's up? And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. He got killed today.
Yeah.
And then, a year, 2 years later, you're like, he's still dead. Like, it's so permanent. Anyway, TT though is such a beautiful thing. It's so fun. And the lap is so long that, you're on 1,000 and you get to stretch the legs of the modern 1,000, and it just keeps pulling. And you're like, dude, I'm in 6th gear. I've been in 6th gear for 7 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, and you're going, and it's pretty, and there's an Irish Sea, and you got all this altitude, and the people are amazing, and the beer is good.
And the fish and chips are great. Yeah, dude. That's bro. So tell us about the electric bike you rode out there. At the TT and
I told Chris, I was like, I rewatched Charge when I found out that you were coming on. I was like, I've watched this. I'm going to rewatch it again. Now, God rest him. That bike that he built. That's probably the most stunning race bike I've ever seen in my life. In pictures, in like it. I wish that he could have kept going with that thing because it was utterly beautiful.
Yeah, he's getting better every year too. That thing dropped like 100 pounds in 3 years, and the amount of energy that he was able to put on board. At first when I heard about the electric stuff, I'm like, blow me. Who the fuck is electric bikes? And then they're like, hey, would you be interested? I'm like, I don't think so, man. Like, I was the government, the guy that's in charge said, like, they would like an American if possible. Would you be interested? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Is it, and I said, well, I would like to see a picture of the bike. And so they got Michael Sizz from Oregon, USA, to text me and email me. And he's like, hey, I'd like to introduce myself. What's up? And I said, hey, you got a fucking picture of the bike by chance? He's like, well, the bike's not in process. We're still making it, but I can show you some computer graphics off of our computer, and we're designing it right now. We're having, this carbon fiber chassis being baked, and we have all the CNC equipment, and we're making the body work and all this crap. And cool. And so he sent me an email with a couple photos. I'm like, this is like aerospace grade, like mad scientist knows what the fuck. Cause I'm like, I ain't going to write some duct taped fucking Ducati 748 chassis tubular frame with like that 900-pound solid lead lithium battery and it'll on Bray Hill.
Right.
It's not Honda. It's not, they don't know what they're doing. Like these guys, you don't know if Michael Sizz knows what he's doing until I saw the computer graphics and shit. I'm like, yeah, I can trust these guys. Like they're going to be fine, And then they did a MotoGP bike with Jeremy McWilliams with a counter rotating V4 and stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll give it let's give that a go. So he shows up and he pulled it out of the crate. And I'm like, dude, that movie's great, by the way.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, great little film.
Such a good movie. Did you ever get to ride the GP bike? Did that Okay.
I saw it with my own eyes. No,
Because I
he
was,
shop,
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
that sucks.
No, it was fun, man. The coolest thing about the electric stuff, once you get on it, is once you start actually riding the damn thing, is there is no vibration, and you're still doing 138 mile an hour down Solby Straight, and it's just going. It's just the wind and the chain is the noise. And, excuse me. And the only thing you can feel through the bars is just whatever's touching the tires. So it's just,
That's awesome.
Fucking scrape my knee, fucking going back and fucking flicking it back and forth, breaking and stuff. It's like you're on the back of a seagull. Like you're just holding on to a seagull.
Just flying through the air.
It's weird. It was so cool though. It was like a totally different thing. It wasn't even motorcycle racing anymore. It was just like, dude, I'm just like soaring, and it had a massive amount of torque. It was fast. It wasn't like I'm going 35 miles an hour. We're doing 120, whatever, 130, 100 mile an hour, scraping my knee, the whole 9 yards, but it's just going. It's weird, but it was really fun. And it was cool to get a first place just because they had worked so hard to make the bike. And all I had to do as an idiot that got lucky enough to not be the weak link and not run out of energy and crash or something. So I just played it like I did exactly what I was told to do. I had to fly all these numbers, and I came across the finish. Like, we're going to fucking do it. We won it. And we got first place, and they got the Star Spangled Banner at the Isle Of ManTT.
Fucking proper, bro. Yes, there it is.
No, it's not the senior. It's not 130.
Who cares?
Dude, who gives a shit, bro?
That's fine.
Well, it's now because I've got the DVD, the Duke TT DVDs from 2004 until they stopped making them.
Okay.
So it's like I'm watching the Zero race, and I'm like, okay, cool. And it's that shot when you passed the Agni bike.
Yeah.
And you sucked the paint off the thing when you went past him because he was probably doing what 65, 70. You were doing 130, and it's just. I was like, oh, we've got something here. Let's go.
So the only time I was allowed to actually open the throttle up was on that one straightaway where they got the helicopter on the Agni bike. He was probably, to be fair, he's probably doing 90, and I was doing 138. And it's the only time they let me, because if you've seen the movie, Michael Sis is a little bit of a. He's a hot shot. He's got the slick hair, and
he fit the part. He looked the part.
Exactly, but he also made kitchens for like the Brad Pitt. Like he was literally an architect for the stars, and he loved motorcycles, so he just did it together. Moral of the story is he kind of wanted that little bit of a, how fast will it go on the straightaway? So that's the only time I was allowed to go wide open, even though it wasn't efficient. They said, well, it's for the show. He was always about that show. So anyway, I got to hold it wide open. And that was the only time and they got it on the camera where I'm like going absolute terminal velocity on this beautiful motorcycle, which he paid, by the way, in the movie. It says like, what, $340,000 to make that bike out of pocket?
Yeah.
No sponsors. He just spent. And his wife, who, by the way, he was married to an heiress of Heinz Ketchup.
Yeah.
So he married up, even though he was doing all right. He kind of married up, and
it's nice work if you can get it.
$1,000 on a little project, a little hobby, and it got all the way to the TT. And by the second year, I got to ride, and we won the race. And so anyway, it was cool.
It's awesome. So compare that race to doing Pikes Peak on what looked like an electric supermoto.
Yeah, Hollywood Electric's out here in California. They can't make bikes fast enough these days, just for college kids, just for like guys that are commuting and stuff. And I don't know if you've ridden any of these electric bikes, just the little ones, not the little ones, but like the medium size.
Ridden a Zero.
You can just squirt around. It's actually, I don't own a Tesla. My wife's got an i3 BMW, which is an electric car, but it's carbon fiber. It doesn't weigh. It's less than a Miata. Miata. But dude, this thing is rear-wheel drive to BMW, and then the regen, just it's super fun to drive. And I hear the Teslas are insanely fun to drive. I don't even want to know because I know we will have to go buy one.
Right.
Build quality is not where it needs to be. Just believe it's not good.
Okay.
Let's just leave it at that.
Technology for the Zero bikes, the TT Zero bike. I did race one up Pikes Peak and had a great time. They ran us at like 6:30 in the morning with snow on the ground. And the higher we went, and I actually lost the front. I just, fuck off. And I just picked it back up and kept going. I lost 10 seconds, and it cost me, I got fourth instead of third. The only guys that were in front of that was Toy and Don Canay on massively huge electric bikes or something. I don't recall exactly the classes. We won our class, but it was like overall we got third. Yeah, anyway.
Still, it's Pikes Peak, dude. That's the gnarliest thing you can do here in the States, at least.
Amazing, dude. It's 14,000 feet. Think about that.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
14,000 feet.
That's
And
a lot.
what's funny is once we got up there the first time, you're just looking and you're going, this is about as high as I think I've ever been. I mean, is there anything higher in the States?
I don't think so.
Mount McKinley might be bigger in Washington State, I think, but they're not. You're not racing up that.
Yeah. Well, again,
Like, you can barely breathe when you get up there, so it's like
the government, the local people in northern Arizona or Colorado or whatever, like people are nice enough just to get off this beautiful canyon road up this peak and let you go as fast as you want. It's ridiculous. It's almost it's a goof. It's like it's the coolest thing ever. But when we got up to the top, a lot of guys were winded and they were doing they gave us all individual oxygens and stuff just to chill out because you have to wait all day for the other cars to go and stuff. Dude, I was like pulling out fags and stuff. We were fucking smoking cigarettes. Back then I was smoking. I don't.
Yeah.
Dude, like Rennie Skaisbrook, who's the current champion, Australia, total lad, like one of the boys. He comes and he's like, you got an extra cigarette? I'm like, what's up, man? Are you kidding me? I brought him with me, It's like,
yeah.
14,000 feet, just checking out the view. It's a good time.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's looking at you like,
it's
what
wild.
the fuck? Yeah,
The
awesome.
cars are sick, like.
Oh, the cars are bananas.
Huh?
Cars are the cars are bananas going up there. It's
one-offs, like no exhaust systems and.
There's no rule book. It's like put a motor and 4 tires on it and come up with whatever you want. Like the engineering that goes in behind that. You're just watching that and you're going, what? Who comes up? Like Mario Andretti says it best. You're only limited by your budget and your imagination. So if you've got however much money, you can do whatever you want.
Some of those cars at Pikes Peak are like 1979 Gen 1s, and then they have been making them better. So they're still 1983 small block Chevys that are now 600 cc or cubic inches and 1,700 horsepower with 4 superchargers on them and a big
Yeah.
That's
just dumb.
Yeah, big old fat tires on the back.
Goofy.
You're there at 3:30 in the morning and the sun starts coming up. You're in the paddock. It's bonkers. Like you go to bed, you try to go to bed, but you can't. And of course, everybody wants to have a beer. So you're like, it's 11 o'clock. We're up in 3 hours, literally 3 hours. And so it's fun. It's a long burn, and it's not the greatest organizational group in the world. You're used to the TT, which is 100 years old, and you're used to Macau Grand Prix, used to whatever. It's not that, but you kind of just have to make sure you stay safe because it is dangerous. It's no joke. At first, I thought it might be a walk in the park, and once I first did the track, I'm like, oh, I had no idea. This is literally dangerous. It's deadly. It's deadly. Like you can't, and the track is cold as you get higher in altitude. It starts to get like you lose grip, and there's even ice and there's even water, and you're like, we don't want race tires. You can't have race tires because you can heat them up downstairs for an hour. But once you get up to 10,000 feet and you got another 4,000 to go, your tires are freezing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or they could be if you're. Anyway, it's really cool though. Of course, it's all everything's a compromise when you're on the public roads.
So, out of all the public roads, which one's your favorite? The Macau, the TT, or Pikes Peak?
Well, it's got to be the TT. I did the Northwest 200 once. It was scared the living shit out of me. That's a mass start, and those boys ain't messing around. It's like their Super Bowl. Like it's their top, like the local guys, not necessarily the BSB guys, but all the other guys.
I was watching the Superbike race from that today, actually.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like Alistair Seeley's hilarious. He has to be like the smallest person on the planet. Like he has to be like this tall.
Yeah, he's like Danny Pedrosa nearly.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just that it's elbows out and your runoff is somebody's front door. I mean, sometimes like it's just gnarly. And Robert Dunlop, who I knew a little bit, he got killed there after I met him and stuff. And then a few other guys, Simon Andrews got killed there.
Yeah.
Buckley got killed there, who was from Scotland, who was my teammate at the time. Who was out in 2 weeks to be my teammate at the Isle of ManTT. Kind of my best friend amongst that. But it's just, oh man, it's all fun and games until you get there and you're like, well, you're the monkey on the bike and you're the one that's got to come through this, okay? And you really don't want to be a statistic, like you just don't want to be another. You would rather sort of say, I'll walk away from this stuff. So we did all right. I mean, I was on a Taz Suzuki, which is Northern Ireland team there down the road, which is neat. It was on a 1,000 stalker, but it was too much for me. I didn't have enough bravery for that. The mass start was too much, man. It was too much, but it was beautiful. It was amazing. And you go to the anchor bar and everyone gets pissed, and it's so fun. I just wish it wasn't dangerous sometimes, but
right. Yeah, I mean the mass starts are always a lot dangerous, man. But the Southern 100, what a track, right? That whole
Southern or the Northwest, which one?
Both of them, the Southern and the Northwest, man. I love all those open road races. I think, and I guess throughout history, Mark, we can. I guess I see that TT riders in general are not good closed circuit racers, right?
It has been historically true to a sense.
Right. That's what I would say. There's very few that do. Obviously now Peter Hickman, right? He's kind of set the bar on on everything really. Truth be told, even at the Macau this year, holy shit, dude, he spanked everybody.
Did he? I want to watch it. I've just been late. I've been working so hard on something.
Sorry, I didn't mean to give it away.
Oh, it's cool. Is it good? Did he smoke him? Did he
bro, he annihilated him. It was Davey Todd was second, which he did good.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who got third, but yeah, I think at the end he was like 17 something seconds ahead.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, it was like,
yeah, that makes sense. Peter's good people, man. He's also got the wingspan. Like he's physically fit. He's physically a good size for the roads.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a tall, lanky guy. He's heavier than most. Like he's not Mark Marquez size, but he's just got the leverage. Like he can just at the TT, he can just throw this thing around, and he's got the brain for it and stuff. It's just a different game. When you're at short circuit stuff, you're just looking for hundredths of a second, and you're just going around in a circle. 14 corners again and again and again and again and again and again. You're just trying little things. The bike and the crew who knows how to tweak the bike makes a big difference, and the tires and everything. But it's such a finite little thing. You're like, fuck, I'm 4/10 off. I'm fucking 24th, like 4/10 off. At the TT, it's more about a flow. It's more about track knowledge. It's about desire and risk over reward. But it's not that the guys are any less competent in actually riding. It's just they're not maybe perfect. They're not a perfect little robot like the MotoGP guys are that have grown up doing the same tracks often, and they're just looking for little microscopic tenths of a second. With the TT, like I said, it's 38 miles per lap. It takes 15 to 17 minutes to do one lap. And let's say you do 25 in a fortnight, or you do 6 in one race, 2 pit stops. You can't just go flat the fuck out, inch perfect every single millimeter, although you're getting closer and closer these days. But you have to basically just, as your fuel goes down and your tires go down, things change, and then you go up to altitude, and the track is totally different section than the bumpy stuff to the smooth stuff. And there's all these dynamics, and the weather can change from one part of the track to the other, and have all these different climates in one lap. And it's longer than a Daytona 200, and you do 2 of those and a couple 4s, 3s, and an electric bike and stuff. So you have to survive 2 weeks of one practice and racing. And so you're not just like, and you got 38 minutes, fuck off, and you're bouncing off everybody. It's a time trial, so you're just trying to get the most efficiency without losing anything and dying.
Yeah. What's your favorite section of the TT?
I don't know. I like the mountain, from after Waterworks, you get Ramsey and then you come up. I just thought that it's just so cool. I'm more of a short circuit guy, even though I'm a canyon carver, but the bumpy stuff is madness, man. It's just, and you think, oh, how adorable. Yeah, it's bumpy. I get it. No. It's not just bumpy. You're basically pointing something in the right direction, and you're just holding on for dear life, and everything's just blurred. You're just going like, and you're like, just hold it, man. Don't be a pussy. Pin it. Keep it pinned. You're like, you're just missing the
shit.
You're like, if you get one little tiny thing off, you're like, fuck off, fuck, and you're going, and because the sidewalks keep coming in and out, and you're just like, you just, blah.
Yeah.
It happens like. There's 6 last year. There was only 1 last year. 2 years ago, 6 with the time.
Yeah.
Then there's been 260 deaths. My God, I mean, it's ridiculous. So it's real. It's not like, oh, you might die or something. It's like, you will fucking die if you get this a little bit wrong and start going like this. I crashed once the TT in 13 fortnights. I did 13 fortnights. I got 46 stars, 2 classics. I crashed once, and it's exactly the shit you don't want to happen. You're like, I can only try something new once. And you're like, oh, fuck it, don't be such a pussy. I bet you could go dang, dang, Agos leap on the thing, top a quarter bridge. You're like, bang, bang, and you go, come on, man. You go, and it just, well, I only got to try it once. It didn't work. Next thing you know, I'm in the air, completely off the ground, sideways, bam, bam, bam. My bike goes boom into a huge brick wall. It hits a telephone pole first, then the wall. I just missed the telephone pole, and I slide down the end about an eighth mile away, and I'm like,
holy shit.
4 fucking pieces, and all I had to do is just try something once. Like, that's all I wanted to do is just try something once. So, and they're like, oh yeah, 3 guys died this year who I knew. It's like, of course they fucking did. What else are you gonna do? You can't go when you go fast. You're gonna like go fuck off and hit a tree.
Yeah,
it's so cool though. Like, it's the coolest thing ever because there's some repercussion. There's something to lose. Like, you actually have something that meaningful. Like, it's wild. You got your own destiny and the control of your own
man. Yeah.
I explain it to friends that when they ask me why I'm into it, and it's like watching that Free Solo movie with Alex Honnold. It's like, okay, it's crazy for me to try that. It's crazy for normal people to try that, but that guy put 10 years of research into that one climb, and he pulled it off. So it's like, I look at it like, that's the type of people that are doing this. They put 10 years of every aspect that they can do to do this 2 weeks. And if they pull it off, awesome. If they don't, they did what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know? I have wanted to know this since I've been following the TT. How do pit stalls and the pit stops work? Because you've got that many people going into that little pit lane. Like, do everybody just like stack up on certain pit stalls, and just put the fuel in when the other person leaves, or what?
So, as far as I know, as far as the fuel stuff, so you have to use a gravity-fed tube at a position that you're given. Let's say there's 80 positions.
Okay.
4 guys will go before the race starts. They all go in their fire retardant suits, and they're given, there's a control fuel so that you can get, and they fill up this old tin gravity fed bucket that has a gravity feed to a gas pumpy thing. You have to use the one you're given. They're supposed to be identical. Some are slightly better than others, but there's no quick fill allowed. But you get your numbers. Say, all right, we're 41, or we, because we're the superstar of the whole sport, we're choosing number 1, or we're choosing the very last one because there's a couple different strategies. But basically, you start each race 10 seconds apart anyway, so everybody fans out. And there's a few times where you're like, you're going to be coming in and somebody's trying to go out, and you're like, whoa, nobody wants to screw anybody up because they'll screw you up. But typically, you just have to do the slot. You practice and practice and practice beforehand to do the visor, and you clean the thing and open the gas cap and put this in, and then you're trying to take a quick break. The reason why I'm told they keep the gravity feed as part of the rules, it's about 46 seconds to do the 24 liters or whatever is legal. Everybody's got to have the max because we're trying to use as much horsepower. It's to let the riders rest a little bit. If you had you have 2 hours of this, and to have 46 seconds to chill is part of the game. It's part of letting the guys get a breather. And then they change the rear tire. Nobody really changes the front because they can go a long, long time, but the rears have to be changed. And it is no joke. I mean, the pit stops can win or lose. You can make a break, and this is why we practice. And one of the things we used to do is even Michael Sizz, he wanted to do the visors once on one of our ice bikes, like the split lath Aprilia or whatever V4. He said, "Hey, can I do your visor? I want to be part of a pit stop because there's no pit stops." And it was his bucket list. "Hey, can I be part of your pit stop?" I'm like, you're literally like going, dude, listen, you can't fuck it up. Like,
yeah, no,
because I'm out there literally risking my life or death to try to get an extra inch, like trying to get an extra fucking half of an inch of better lap time. And if I come in, and I change my visor, and he's like, fucking come on, man, you can't fucking, where's the clip? I can't fuck. And I'm sitting there going,
yeah.
You just, Really? You're gonna be that guy? So here's the story. So Michael Sizz, this fucking engineer of this $400,000 NASA space thing I got to win on, get my trophy. He said, advisor. I said, all right, here's the thing. We're going to practice. He's like, no problem. Yeah, fine, let's do it. So we start to practice. So the guy's doing the wheel. We have a guy push us into the pits and stop, stand on, rear, just boom, cap off. Everyone's got a job to do. So Michael Sizz starts taking my visor off and on. And the first time, I just had to let him do the job. So he's like, click, clip, clip, clip. Yeah, okay. And I'm getting the water bottle. Yeah, I'm pretending to drink. Clip, clip. He puts it back on. He's like, yeah, what's the big deal? I'm like, okay. So we go, good. All right. So we push it out. Second run. We're going to do this like 7-8 times, right? Kind of every day. Everyone has it just so that it's second nature. So again, he starts to change my visor. I start going, fuck yeah. And I start grabbing his balls and I'm like, what are you doing? Slapping him and stuff like that. So that now he's like, and he dropped it on the ground. He's like, Tio, and he's like grabbing it and he's fucking doing it. It's like, that's what it's really like. Because the bikes are still going, and all this fucking, you're all nervous. You're like, I don't want it to be me. I don't want it to be me to fuck up. And anyway, so the pit stops are fucking badass. Like it's actually part of the game. So everybody wants to be really prepared. And you can see some guys, if they even get 4 seconds advantage over a tight battle, like that's 4 seconds.
Yeah,
man.
that's
like,
huge.
It's 4 seconds and it stays 4 seconds. You're like, well, I got 2/10 back. And you're like, yeah, but you ain't got 4 seconds. Well, that was lost by a bad pit stop.
Yeah. It's wild. Chris and I have talked about it. It's my favorite race of the year. So it's, for
sure. Yeah. So we actually have a question. Tomaz says, ask Mark about our 2016 race at
Pikes Peak.
Yeah, Pikes Peak. That was fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
We talked about that.
Yeah, because I go ahead. Sorry.
Have you heard about that San Pedro Matir hill climb in Baja?
I've got two buddies that have gone. A friend of mine, Jake Chamberlain, raced the Supermoto run there, and then one of our guys that we've had on the show before, Andrew Gower, went and ran the little bikes. So, have you done that yet? Have you talked about that, or?
Yeah. So in 2017, I think it was the first one, and Carlin Dunn, who's multi-time Pikes Peak winner, he went down there and he fucking smoked everybody and laid out a lap time, and it was there for years, and no one had touched it. And he passed away, of course, trying to in the lead, trying to get the Pikes Peak lap record or whatever with our buddy Rennie Skaysbrook. And I was kind of like, I was retired and stuff, and I'm like looking at it and I go, what is that thing? Maybe it'd be fun just to go old school again, like out of the back of a van. Why don't we just sort of take my street bike, which was a badass street bike, and go, why don't we go do it? We'll just go do it. Just a couple of us, so three of us boys and my wife. Well, let's go down and do it. Of course, you could open that can of worms. The next thing know, you got 100% tie bolts. You're testing every fucking tire you can. You got lightweight wheels. You got Brembo monoblocks. You got your race bike, your street bike, which is a great street bike. Now all of a sudden, you just thousands of dollars into it, and you're like testing. Next thing you know, it's like, well, we're going to fucking break that record, motherfucker. Like, we ain't gonna. It's weird, man. It's like, oh, why don't we just do it for fun? We'll go to this beautiful, it's Baja, California, Mexico. It's a wild west. There's no internet. There's no electricity out there.
Yeah.
Tumbleweeds. You're like, just go have a laugh. We'll stay at the ranch and you can't.
Was that Tuano?
Yeah, Tuano.
Yeah.
Road tax priors. So I'm like,
hey, I want one.
So cool. But here's the thing, man. I didn't realize this before we started, is that Carlin Dunn unfortunately passed away, but he had the record. And I was so sad when Carlin got killed, because he was like my mentor. When I went to the Pikes Peak, he was my instructor guy. Yeah. And the whole thing, we had like a 3-hour conversation on the phone. I'd never met him about the TT. He was thinking about going, and I gave him all his advice. Next thing you know, he gets killed. I'm like, fuck. So this Baja Mexico hill climb, which is 115 corners. It's not as high at the top, but it's unbelievable. It's all paved. It's a proper road race. So like it's real. And I thought, all of a sudden, like, I'm thinking, well, it'd be nice to get the record. And I'm like, well, now I'm racing against Carlin. In my heart, I was like, Carlin Dunn's got this lap time, and baby, I want to bring you into my heart, and I want to race against your lap time. You're competing again, And to me, it was really special, because I felt like I'm bringing that motherfucker back into my life. Like, I want to fucking race against that time. You're back, let's do it. I'm coming for you, motherfucker. And it was cool. It was like, because we're mates, So long story short, I showed up completely prepared, like beyond belief. We even went out there for an intel, like what do they call it? A recon mission.
Yeah.
Recorded it, with high res. Fucking, I sped up some stuff on board. I sped it up to the lap time I wanted to meet. Ran it backwards. Ran it at night. I did all this crazy preparation because I was retired and I hadn't raced in a while, and I'm like, do this, So anyway, we showed up. We beat the track record. We beat the next guy by 50 seconds, and we beat Carlin Dunn's record by 28 seconds.
Oh, well, yeah.
Bro.
I was on a heavier bike with more power. He was on
Yeah.
500 modified supermoto and stuff. But, the moral of the story, and we had his onboard footage to use, which was a great advantage. But we did it proper. I didn't make any mistakes. But the team was in tears. It's weird because I have these old men around me, old friends, and they're just like, man, he's taking this seriously. Fuck, what is really like? He is really taking this seriously. And when we did it, I was like, all we wanted was the record. And he says, and, the winner, of course, is Mark Million. Lap time, 14 minutes, 30 seconds. And everyone was like, in the room was just like, seriously? Because, you know what I mean? And so all my 59-year-old friend who was really helping me a lot and stuff, they're all just going like, like that dick. Like he wanted to do it and he did it. It was just fun. Racing's cool like that.
Yeah, it is.
Inspired by and it's a family effort. Like it's something where it's a team, it's fun.
It is.
Keep talking. I got something I can show you.
No, it's very much. Oh, we actually got a question from Trevor Watson. Wants to know, how was riding for Arian Racing?
Yep, Arian Honda. I did it in 2000. It was amazing. I really liked Kevin Arian. We always were buddies. I used to buy my DID ERV 3 chains or whatever from him, cash, because he got them for free, and I'd give him a little bit of cash for it, which is cheaper than buying them. And Rick Hobbs was the crew chief. And it was cool, man. The only downside was I didn't have a 600 when I was given 1,000. Jake, my teammate Zemke, had a 600 and 1,000, and I felt like I was not getting the track time. And the 1,000cc Form Extreme were kind of like the stepchild of the whole thing, and we wouldn't get as much lap time. So they didn't. My crew chief got pissed off very early that they assigned to me because they were giving Jake the special parts from Honda for our bikes first. And I was beating Jake. I was going faster than him in all the tests and stuff. And they got one part to try. Actually, there was one part they knew would work. And they said, we have a second one coming, but we only have one today. And they're like, we're giving it to Jake. And my guy was like, what do you mean giving it to Jake? Mark beat him the last 2 times. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, fuck you guys. And he quit. And so long story short, it was a great team, great, awesome, everything. The only thing is I lost my crew chief. And so it was tough. It was tough. But,
talk about Carlin.
Yeah. Hey,
Scorpion did that.
Yeah. I like that.
Bautista did that right after we lost him at Laguna. So they put Carlin right there on the side. So I was like, the helmet stays. That helmet, I raced in this one last year. So it's like, I'm going to keep that one handy. That's just a cool lid. So
it's a very cool lid. We got another question, dude. Mark White wants to know, how did they fill the EBR at the TT with the auxiliary fuel tank, main tank first or aux tank?
So the EBR did not have a way to blow the tank. It had the fuel in the frame, of course, as many people know. So normally when you have a normal gas tank on top of a ZX10 or whatever, you can blow it with air, compressed air, and actually have the bottom go boom, 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 and actually get enough capacity so that you could take 1,000cc or 1,200cc twin for 2 full laps without running out of gas. You will run out of gas if you don't blow the tanks, if it doesn't have an aftermarket tank and superbike that adds to the maximum 24 liters. I don't know what the stock bikes have. Let's just call it 21. I'm making it up. But you'll run out on the second lap every single time. On the EBR, we couldn't blow the tanks because the fuel was in the frame, which was an aluminum cast or whatever. So we had to eventually make a second fuel tank under my seat. And then we had a bunch of scavenging and weird like vacuum lock issues between linking the two. And so we went bigger spigots and bigger this and bigger. Long story short, they got it to where it wouldn't be starved of fuel. And I ran out of fuel a lot of times on the way. But we had to do 2 tanks from the front of the bike behind the triple clamps and then go underneath my ass to the second tank. And unfortunately, it took several seconds more than normal. And that was a little bit deflating because I was still doing it because I was getting paid really well and I really enjoyed the team and I really enjoyed being an American on an American bike. Unfortunately, we were always a foot behind because of this fuel thing. I could be in 11th place out of 80 and come into the pits and we would lose. We would lose 9 positions every time. There's math, we just lose time. You're like, oh, hold on. We still got some more. And it's trying to connect the two because they would have to feed in. Anyway, it's a disaster. So the only way we could actually do it is to have 2 tanks. We eventually got it to work, but the refilling on the pit stops were literally 10 seconds too long.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. There's a lot of behind the scene work that goes into that. Fuckery is what I call it, right? The engineering side of the fuckery that goes on with it, man. It's got to be super aggravating just knowing that your pit stop's going to be X amount of time longer than everybody else's.
Like that is, if you're given a badass bike that won every race or something, it's capable, you're going to go for it. You're going to bring every micro ability that you have. If going out, you're losing 10 seconds every pit stop, you just ain't going to push. You're not going to push. You're just not going to. No. If somebody said, hey, that super stock bike that did 136 with Hickey last year, we're going to give it to you with the engineers that set it up and we're going to tweak it to your weight or whatever. You're going to be like, hey, I'm going to give it a go. I've been at 46 starts. I got the knowledge of the track. If I show up physically fit, you think I'm going to be finishing where the EBR finished? No, we're going to be finishing fucking 4th. We're going to be finishing 6th or whatever. Like it's not like rocket science. It's math.
No. Yeah, it is. You're right. Dude, would you ever go back? Thomas wants to know if you'd ever go back and race the Baja again.
Oh, the Baja thing. I'd like to. I'm busy with other things right now, and I know that it's so all encompassing when you get on a project like that. You kind of, no matter how hard you try, you make it kind of your number one priority. Because there's a result at the end of it and you want a good result. So I put it aside for now, but I tell you, it's absolutely possible. I would love to go with a Ducati Street Fighter that has the full works, like the full works pipe and the flash ECU and the whole 9 yards. Cause I could probably get under 14 minutes if I had a Street Fighter, and that'd be fun. It'd be like a goal, like a target. Say, I want to get sub 14 minutes. That'd be fun. But,
that would be.
It wasn't last year. I don't know, maybe next year. It's just here's the thing, guys. It's if you just make the one phone call or you write the first email and you hit send, you're fucked.
Yep.
There's a whole can of worms where you're going to get an answer about something. And someone's going to be like, let me think about that. Or maybe, next year, let me check the budget. And then you're like, next thing you know, they go, yeah, man.
We're going to do it.
Probably loan you a press bike. And then they come back and they go, fuck the press bike. How about if we bring a little truck down there for you with just one guy, from Ducati? And they go, nah, why don't we just bring everybody that went to Pikes Peak with Carlin Dunn, which is like 5 guys. And we're going to fly in a guy from Italy. Next thing you know, this one stupid email into like, we're doing this. And it happens every single time.
Well, I mean, KTM did just drop a 1390 Super Duke as well. I'll be that guy real quick.
Right?
They're freaking gnarly, those things.
Yeah. It looks nuts.
I've never rode a 1290, but it's a motorcycle I always wanted.
I got to ride one at Thunder Hill for a shootout with motorcycle.com. All the hyper nakeds.
Yeah.
That thing's nasty, man. That's like a small block Chevy with like rah, rah, like it's mean.
I really like that bike a lot. I really want to ride one. Like I've ridden one around the street. I haven't been one on racetrack, and I was like, I know I might get 60% out of this bike, but it's still going to be a lot of fun.
Right. We have another question. William wants to know, were the vintage super bikes any fun?
Yeah, dude. It's just a kind of some backstory on that. So William, who just asked that question once, he invited. So let me back up a couple more years. In 2015 or 13 or something, I got an email from the TT government, the Isle of Man people, and said, would you like to ride a 1986 Daytona 200 winning Eddie Lawson FZ 750 full factory race bike? still owned by Yamaha. It's not the exact bike. It's an absolute replica based on, it's got exactly the same radiator, the same carbs, the same magnesium, the same forks, the same everything. It's owned by Yamaha, and we're going to bring it to the TT for the classic TT, which has grown like, what's it called? What is it when they, you get in an arms race, and next thing you know, some older guy from fucking Sweden or something who owns this whole fleet of Yamaha, perfect. I mean, we're talking showroom condition, as if they just ran up TZ 750 in 83 or something.
Jesus.
And, you know, it starts on its first bump. Like it goes, it's perfect. It's perfect. And
You're like, oh,
you're like, anyway, that older guy and the older guy from the Suzuki fleet of old classic bikes, which are the real, they're like, motherfucker, you know, like, and next thing you know, they're all going to the Isle of ManTT, and they're going, oh, let's get some fucking riders on this, and let's get some ringers on, let's get some, and so they start wanting to beat each other with these old bikes. And you would think, because this is an irreplaceable museum piece, this is an irreplaceable multi-million-dollar fucking collector's item, and you would think that the guy, the fat guy from that's been around forever, used to be Rossi's first mechanic or something. Right. He'll come up. You think he's going to be like, "Look, man, this is all fun. Don't crash the bike." You think that you would hear that. You think that they would come up and go, "Just don't crash the bike, okay? Just don't crash it. We can't replace it. There's no parts. We don't have 3 of them in the truck. It's the only one in the world, okay?" They don't say that. Instead, they come up and say, "You ride that fucking thing as hard as you fucking can. I don't give a shit. You fucking ring that bitch for all it's worth. I don't want to hear this scream again. I want her to be going, yes,
I love it.
Williams bike. So let me just set it up. So here's the thing, man. When I used to be in the fucking parts department when I was a little kid, that 750 would have been up on the wall with Eddie Lawson with the number 4 bike with his little paint job, white and red paint job, Eddie Lawson. White Yamaha patched on there on his arms, you know, hand stitched on there. That bike has now been offered to me to go ride it at the Isle of ManTT, flat the fuck out. And it's got a dry clutch. It's got $20,000 carburetors, a big radiator, to fucking, and modern rubber. And I'm like, they're like, would you like to do that? I'm like, let me think about it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You don't think about it long.
What kind of question is that?
Like they put like 50 of these different bikes, like in newer, like 91 ZX7s and stuff, against my little 86. I'm on an 86 or something. We were definitely down on technology, because it was, I mean, and think about the difference between an 86 and a 91. It's not even close. We got 5th.
Proper, bro.
Because I rang the living shit out of that lady, and she but so then 2 years later I got to do like a 91 ZX7, which was my very first ever race bike ever. After
that's awesome.
I got to ride the same bike that I started out on, and
oh wow,
now it's got the aluminum gas tank, the flat slide carburetor, Keans, the 41s. It's got the close ratio gearbox I could never afford, and now I get to ride what I never got. It's 30 years later or something, which was bizarre. But I want to tell you this part of it. Riding a bike that I intimately raced and got the Suzuki ride later on in 95, I was riding this bike. In 96, I was given free Suzukis and stuff because of the performance I did on this bike. I was so acclimated with my bike, and I rode out on the street. My race bike was my street bike. I couldn't afford 2, so I would just take the number plates off. The lights were still in it, and I'd ride it to school every day. Then I'd go racing, and I'd put a plate over it and unplug the lights. So I got to race the kit Kawasaki ZX7 again, but now it's full kit. And when I started to race it at the TT, I'm going down and I'm turning the bike, and I'm braking and trail braking, and I'm driving it out. I'm going, I know this girl. Like, this was my lover in high school or college, let's say. This was the girl I fucked for years in college. And now I'm riding her again. And, you know, I know exactly what she likes. It was trippy.
That's awesome.
Real.
That's awesome.
The trail and the wheelbase and the how stable it was, and all the power delivery of that bore and stroke and everything. It was like almost like weird. It was almost like I was in a virtual reality. I'm like, I'm riding this again. You can do it with your eyes closed, going, I know this bike perfectly. So anyway, to William's question, after we did it, what did we get on that one? We didn't get but 11th because a lot of people showed up, and my last lap on that bike trying to learn it was, and try not to crash it, was faster than like 6 guys ahead of me. So we did okay. We got 11th. Well, and this is against Michael Dunlop and fucking all
right.
All the boys. Yeah.
Peter Hickman was my teammate that year on the ZX7.
Oh, nice.
We were the same team. So what's cool about what William is asking about, he invited me to race in 82 or something Suzuki 1000 from the Kevin Schwantz, Wayne Rainey, Eddie Lawson, OG Super 1.0 generation.
Yeah.
And so he's like, hey, would you want to come? It's not Bubba Schobert, but Wes Cooley's like replica or something. Long story short. Sorry I'm so long-winded.
No, you're good.
Absolutely not. Do not apologize for that at all.
America, check this out. Moto America was having baggers for the first time at Laguna Seca just a couple years ago. And they said, well, let's bring that classic class, the CRMA or whatever, the CRSRA. He said, we'll have them too as a support, like an exhibition race. Anybody in?
I remember that. I remember watching that.
Yeah.
It's televised, motherfucker.
Yeah.
See, I'm like, I don't know what. So William calls me, hey, would you like to ride this bike? And I'm like, send me a picture of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Walking, oh, it's number 12, and it's like duct taped on there. No, it's got to be right, otherwise it's a long weekend, So 78 GS 1000.
Yeah, 1000.
Thank you, Bill. Cheers, brother. So I show up, dude. This bike is immaculate. It's factory. It's fucking tits. And here's the cool thing about that is those cats back then raced at Laguna Seca on these bikes. This is the 1100, my very first ever 81 GS 1100 for $800. 1 week out of my crazy mother's house when I graduated from high school. I'm like, bye.
See ya.
GS 1100. So it's kind of that. It's like going back again on a time warp to my
awesome.
Ever street bike ever. Now I'm racing it at Laguna Seca with a corkscrew. The same shit that Bubba Shower and fucking Schwantz and all these cats were racing these race bikes. And guess what? About all these classics, including Williams GS 78, they work. He's like, oh, fuck, these things are going to be turds. They're going to be slow. They're going to suck. Dude, what are you kidding? I didn't know either. I can here to report back. You send me in, I'm coming back with the report. These fucking bikes worked then, and they work now. They're really competent. They're really good. They're super fast. Like they did not work. But the cream of the crop rose to the top. Eddie Lawson, Wayne Rainey, Kevin Schwantz, who all went to 500 Grand Prix and made bigger stardom. They started at Laguna Seca on this bike that Williams. So anyway, long story short, we fucking rode the shit out of this thing. And I wasn't going to ride it that hard at first. I'm like, I don't know. I want to scratch it. It's perfect. It's so glossy paint and it's so amazing. Until I saw the baggers run 50 minutes before we were out. The baggers went out there, and I saw Ben Bostrom out there and a couple other guys I knew, and they were like knee down, backing it into turn 2, fuck off, and I'm like, yeah, you're going to ride a bike, ride the bike. Like,
that's it.
I don't care who's in the race. I'm going to ride this bike as fast as I can for whatever, to 11 laps or whatever it was. So we ended up winning the race on Williams' bike. You just take by like, I don't know, 26 seconds or something, but it's on TV too.
Yeah.
What's kind of fun about that is Roger Lee Hayden was one of the commentators on the Moto America feed, and he got to eventually kind of like go, Mark Miller. I raced against Mark Miller when I was 16, and they called me pork chop. I was actually fighting for the podium with Mark Miller back in the AMA days because I had like 26 AMA podiums, like everyone wasn't in there. So Roger Lee Hayden has then gone on to do another 20 years there, and he's retired. Now he's a yapper on the television. Like now I'm doing it to TT actually.
Yeah.
And he's able to go, I remember Mark Miller. Yeah. He was always in the way, that kind of thing. So that was kind of fun too. So yeah. So we did that. And then more recently I've been racing a similar bike for Kerry Andrews from Hypercycle.
Yep.
And that cat can build a motor. You know that. I don't know if you know Kerry from Hypercycle. Yeah. He used to get disqualified a lot for cheating because he built motors that were better than anybody. And he's been building a couple classic bikes that he's been invited me to race. And we actually got to go to Phillip Island.
I was about to ask about that because I was like, I couldn't remember if you had gone or not. I knew Josh Hayes did, but I couldn't remember if you got to go.
Josh, Pridmore, Rapp, Pegram, me, like we were all part of the American team, and we weren't racing these open handlebar dealies. Now we're going back to XR69s, which are basically like TZ7, full blown fairings with the massive bubble. 100cc dudes. They radared me at 183 down the front straightaway.
Holy shit!
Phillip Island Grand Prix track, in the wind, sideways, fucking weather vaning.
Jesus.
A classic bike with magnesium.
Jesus.
An old school. The only thing it doesn't have is upside down forks and billet and like radial brakes.
Yeah.
Got everything else. And here's the cool thing about racing a 1350cc full fairing bubble bike from the old days. There's no electronics. It's a 5-speed. There's no first gear, no tall first gear. It's not close ratio, which means it'll still kill you.
Yeah.
But it's like, whoa, and it's like, there's no first because it's worthless. So you basically start the race in second.
All right.
Like, whoa, there's only at that point 4 gears.
4 gears, yeah.
But it's flat slide carburetors and 1300 cc's, board, tie rods, fucking balanced, polished crankshaft. Like, it's kit, right? And you won't crash it. Guess who crashed it right in front of me? Jason Pridmore was my teammate at Hypercycle in 97. And all he could do is break his legs for a living. His mother was so sad. Like the guy always broke his legs. I don't know. He's kind of a big guy, big bone.
Yeah.
He high-sided right in front of me, going on the last, the last 2 corners. Corner. There's no electronics. There's no traction control. There's fucking all you got to do is just go like that, and you would just go to the moon. He high-sided right in front of me at like $120. Like fuck that shit. So anyway, it was a lot of fun to be able to go on a Grand Prix track. I got to go to Jerez recently on the brand new Panigale S with Martin, and Arco. They're kind of the bitches of the Ducati ranks.
Yeah.
Go do the journalist gigs.
Yeah.
Just be amongst them. I get asked once in a while when somebody's not available. They say, "Would you mind going out to Jerez and riding the most modern fucking $35,000 street bike and write about what your impressions are?" It's like,
twist my arm a little bit harder,
right? I mean, I don't know. Let me check my wife. I might be busy. It's like, fuck off. So we went to Jerez and everything. And Martin passed me on the racetrack. He has an identical street bike to stock with the $10,000 type pipe, same tires and everything, but they ride them all the time just to stay bike fit and just stuff. But it's got the ABS and it's not a MotoGP bike, but I tell you what, there ain't that far off the lap times, even with street Pirellis. They might have been slicks. But dude, I was like, I never been to Jerez before, but I got going down into the big braking segment. Just at the time Martin caught up to me, and I swear, you know how it is. First of all, I'm not going to crash a magazine bike, a press bike. You just don't. Right. You'll never be invited back. One guy crashed, and they were angry. They're like, so why are you crashing? It's not a race. Like, why would you crash? Why would you crash? Well, it's not. That doesn't mean shit because, of course, you close that visor. Can't help it. Now all these journalists. These guys like Chris Ulrich, and Adams' son, and all these fucking assholes. They are quick. They're all X-rays. And dude, you get a bunch of journalists out there like Rennie Skaisberg and stuff, who's the Pikes Peak current world champion. Like Lappel. These are not slow guys. These are guys that ride bikes every day while we're all trying to find our way in life. They're out having fun on bikes against each other. Everywhere they go, they compete. Moral of the story is I was going at a pretty good clip at Jerez, going down into the brakes, and I thought, maybe chasing somebody, or maybe I just passed somebody. I'm like, watch me, follow me now, motherfucker.
Right.
It's just we're gonna drink way too much wine tonight together.
Right.
We're
gonna talk shit and have fun.
Yeah.
He goes by me on the exact same bike that I was on. Like, I'm like, fuck you, you're not gonna catch me. And I was like, brake. When you're a club racer and the local fast expert, the white plate, goes by. He went, wow, and then he dangles his leg, like hit all the downshifts on the auto blipper.
Yeah,
he was talking about it earlier in front of us. He just grabs all the brakes as hard as he possibly can, and lets the racing ABS just go all the way down in the corner. And now the electronics will let you set up not only the engine braking, but also the ABS and this corner speed slide and the throttle TC going out and the wheelie control. And they've got this beautiful new dashboard that's trickled down from MotoGP that Dobie always used that has this little tree of all 4 different or 5 different colors, green, basic colors that you can tell apart. And you can see all the rider aids fucking with your bike all at once in real time. And it's once you get used to it, because at first you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? You start, oh no, I see it. Now I'm hitting the ABS, and now the bike is just pitched down. It'll only go a couple degrees, and then it stays. It's all adjustable. Then you nail the gas, and it'll just drive out, and then the wheelie control will kick in, and it won't wheelie more than that much or that much or that much. It's so much faster. Like you can go around the track ridiculously quicker because of these electronic aids. Moral of the story is Martin has been riding these things for a couple of years. He understood the electronics. He had it set up perfect to what he liked. He had the suspension perfect. And this young man went by me so fast and so deep into the corners. And, it's just one of these things where you just like, well, just, you got to still make your own corner, but watch. And he just fucking threw it down in there and it was gone. And it was like, so MotoGP riders don't just look like themselves. They actually are good. They're not just, well, now you're going to play that role. You're in a movie, you're playing the role of the fast guy. Martin, who just almost won the fucking world championship, passed me 1 year ago in Jerez at the track he knew. He's Spanish, on a bike he knew. And my God, were those people screaming, for mercy. It's pretty cool to see it. And the Panigale fucking 1200 1190S is no slouch.
No, it's not.
It's like state of the art.
I watched that video that you did, actually. I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to watch Mark do Ducati. This will be fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine the feeling just to get that close to a MotoGP rider, right? It going full fucking bore, coming by you when you think you're in fucking warp speed, Star Wars mode, right? And this guy comes by you, but you see what he does and you think to yourself, holy shit, right? Like he's just a fucking god. Yeah, he's just a god on this thing, man. Like Top Rack, right? Everybody likes Top Rack with his front.
The thing about these kids too is that they're trained so well by all the technicians from the factories. They're taught what the engineers need them to know, and so to listen to them talk about things like setup, and they know what they're talking about. It's not just like, oh, he rides at the seat of his pants, and it's like that. Those days are gone, man. Yeah. They have to be, because they have to know how to speak. Not only that, the technicians look at all these data points and they'll tweak this bike. It's a whole different game, man.
It is.
What's weird is for 35 grand, you can go buy one that's literally nearly MotoGP. I mean, it's like the only difference is whatever the materials or something, but technology is there. My only point was that Martin is not an idiot. Like he also knows exactly what the bike is doing underneath him, because he's been riding this thing for meaning since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
He's done nothing else. And to see that level of mastery.
Bravo, right?
I was at Coda 2019 watching Rossi come through the corner, like go through the stadium section. And I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. Okay. You watch, he went through and we were sitting on the grass where it's the long right, and he came through and I had to call my dad. I was like, I just saw God on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
He goes, what? I go, Rossi just came past me. He goes, oh, send me a video. I go, all right. And then he called me back. He goes, that's banana. That's ridiculous. Oh, it's just
it's master. You're watching a master at something.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So I think next year, man, Jorge Martinez, after 2024, I don't think he'll be with Ducati in 2025. It's just my personal guess.
Where would he go, do you think?
Man, honestly, I would like to see. I think he'd really do weird KTM. I'd love to see him on a KTM. I think his style would suit that bike really well. What do you think, Mark?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think that the Aprilia is going to be good enough on the day. I think a KTM has made really strong. You've seen Bender strong, finish really strong. So Suzuki and Hondas, I don't have a lot of faith in at the moment. But I don't know, dudes. Like I don't know. I think that you need to be on a Ducati at the moment. Just it's almost like a spec class, but I don't know. It's cool to see KTM up there, and it's cool to see Aprilia up there. I'm a fan of Aprilia because they're so small, and I own my favorite street bike is an Aprilia, and it's fun to see what their solutions are. Like they put the bike I got, which is an older one, they have a Rotax engine in basically a 250 Grand Prix chassis. So you take the engine out, the gap between the bars, meaning on the frame, it's tiny. Like it's this little Grand Prix bike that I don't know. They're just cool. Like I like them. So I think you just need motivated riders. Vinales is so fucking hot and cold. Like I
call him Captain Saturday.
He's detesting world champion for sure.
He just you down. Every time you get behind him, a little bit like Joe Roberts, and I don't mean any offense, but every time I get behind the kid, I'm like, all right, man, let's go. You got this. You got some momentum. Come on, you let me down again. You know what I mean? It's a little Vinales. I think that, and then
Aleix. Yeah.
He's been hitting the ground lately. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either. It's Alicia's. Everybody, I keep hearing a lot of stuff about how Aleix might retire after this year.
Yeah. He's got a hot girlfriend. It was his wife, rather.
She is quite cute, ain't she? Yeah.
First you think, she's kind of a little school, like a little librarian or something, which is also hot. But then after you see her a couple of times, like, she's actually quite cute. She might be prettier than Bagnaio's girlfriend.
I would say yes on that, 110% sure. Look, man, let's get away from motorcycles for a few minutes, Mark. I want to know what Mark does away when the helmets and the leathers up. Like, do you read books at all? Are you a book reader?
Do you think maybe I could grab a fresh beer at the moment while we transition?
Absolutely, Mark.
You don't have a partner to talk to, so let's wait until he comes.
Hang on, I'm grabbing the charger for my phone. Hang on.
There you go.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, listen.
I've been reading a lot of books. I'll confess, some people don't call it reading, but I've been blazing through audiobooks. Like
me too. I'm an audiobook nerd.
And people say it ain't reading, and I'm like,
whatever.
It is. It's just not. Anyway, so I've been researching a lot about writing because I've been doing more and more writing as I'm done racing. And the wife and I are working on a project that she's in the film industry at a high level, and I've always wanted to be in the film industry after racing, and so we've kind of met right at the last minute, which is kind of cool because we're both never married, and we just got married, and we're both old.
Congratulations! Yep, that's awesome.
So she has commissioned me to write something, and I've been doing it full time every day, all day long. While she's actually right now finishing, they're about to wrap up on the sequel to Twister. Yep. Remember with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt?
Hell yeah!
It's a badass movie. If you go back and watch it, you're like, I forgot how good this is.
Yeah,
it was so good. That's got Philip Seymour Hoffman in it. The first one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
So they're making the sequel. They have a week left of shooting. The actor strike, the SAG strike, totally killed them. They were like 3 weeks from the finish after a good 7 months, and everyone was like, "Oh, we gotta fucking cut it down." So they had just put plastic over everything, and they've just returned 2 weeks ago, and they're just about to wrap it up. Anywho, while she's doing that, I've been left alone here to stay focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's been working really well.
So, what's the last audiobook you listened to?
I just started Booker T. Washington's Up from a Slave or something.
I haven't. Is it good?
It's insanely good. I finished it. It's only like, if you listen to it at 1.5 speed, it's only 4.5, 5 hours. And it's only a collection of articles that this black slave wrote after he got some education. A white father he never knew, and a black mother. And he ended up starting a university for black kids in the South, just right after the Civil War. He was like 9 years old during the Civil War, got freed, and ended up going to school because he was really motivated to do it. He was like one of the first ever black guys in the country. Moral of the story is, if you want to understand shit better, that book has been so awesome because it boils down to the individual. The individual, like whoever wants to do something with themselves, if you're motivated to improve and you want to help others, it's just cool. Like there's that one, and then there's another book on Uncle Tom's Cabin, which I also read a while back. It's just a perspective. It's a historic look into from the horse's mouth, from like what the hell was going on. You know, the end of slavery was only late 1800s.
Yeah, I know.
Ain't shit. It's
No,
just
it ain't. Right there. Yeah.
It was just before the turn of the century when we had airplanes and we had tanks and bullets. I mean, like flying things. And anyway, that's fascinating. But I'm a big history buff. There's a lot of the old Wild West books, like The Man That Matched My Mountains or something, which I read right before the Pikes Peak thing, because it was actually all about the very, very first white people that came across to the West ever. Yeah. Holy crap, was that tough? You know, we don't even know, like, they had, anyway, sorry to bore you.
No, you're good. No.
The American history is pretty exciting. I'm also a big fan of World War II, and of course, Alexander the Great. I've been doing Napoleon just to understand what the fuck has happened before we got here. Yeah. And we're always fighting about something.
Yeah, we are. I like, so my last book I just got done was Randy Lanier.
Okay.
He's a race car driver that was smuggling weed into the United States, man, back in the day, racing Indy 500. And dude, it's just fucking crazy, wild story, man. It's sex, drugs, and rock and roll and race cars. It was a lot of fun. It was a really good book, man.
Awesome.
And then I listened to the Zen, the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Yeah.
That one, and then I'm currently on damn it, what's his name? He was a Tim Kennedy. Yep.
You talking about the Fauci book?
Yep. Yeah, I know, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's
Anthony Fauci. If anyone hasn't read that, The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert K. Jr., you have got to read that. You got to read it. Every single thing in there is factual.
Yeah.
It's all cross-reference. You can check it out.
Yeah, it's dude, those guys are just it's
Tim Kennedy's is a whole nother level of savage.
Yeah,
so
David Goggins. Have you ever heard?
Oh God.
Yeah, Mark, have you ever read David Goggins' books?
I haven't read them.
Okay, so he's a big motivational. He was the 37th Black Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about his whole trials and tribulations. He used to be real fat and never be anything, and then he went down to the Marine Corps, station. They're like, "You fat fuck, get out of here. You'll never make it. You only got like 3 months to lose 200 pounds or whatever." And he fucking did it, bro. And then, dude, just whole thing takes off. It was really good, man. It's a good book. Daniel can vouch for it for sure.
Oh, he's a psycho. I've seen him running. His mom lives south of from where I'm at, and he does ultra marathons as well. Yeah. So it's like this guy runs 100 miles in the desert for fun, which,
wow.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there at this intersection, and nobody runs here. It's a really busy intersection. You're getting onto the interstate from here, and it's a lot of people. And I'm like, who the hell is running here? And I look up, it's David Goggins. He's 6'4", 215, and shredded, and he's just kind of just cruising along. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Why is he here? I was like, is he running across the U.S.? Is he like, what are we doing? But yeah, no, one of his audiobooks, like the first one, he'll read the chapter and then he'll have a conversation with somebody about it after the chapter's done. So it's really neat. It's a really good one to listen to when you get the time.
Where do you live, Dan?
I'm in Nashville.
All right, cool, man.
So yeah. But yeah, I'm getting through I'm personally getting through the Arnold Schwarzenegger Be Useful. That's a good one. That's a really good. That one has surprised me a lot. Like I knew a lot about this, like what he was talking about just in his personal life, but seeing how he can communicate, hey, this worked for me. This exact way won't work for you, but this mindset will work. So that's been fun. And then you can't go wrong with Anthony Bourdain. You can't go wrong with Kitchen Confidential. That's so good.
You guys like a lot of motivational stuff, eh?
That I'm about to start another Steve McQueen book.
Which
so
one?
I'm hang on, I'll go get it. It's an older one.
Yeah,
hang on.
I got the Anthony Bourdain, but I haven't started it yet. Mark,
it's in. a little bit older. It's like the greatest, like Steve McQueen, The Great Escape.
Oh yes,
Oh, he wrote
yes.
that, huh?
I think. Let me see who wrote this one. Hang on.
Or is that based on the script or the screenplay? Or
It is no. This is a biography of him,
sick.
but it's. I'll send you a picture of it.
Yeah.
Have you by chance, speaking of biographies, done Matthew McConaughey's?
I'm
No.
listening to that now.
No, I want.
That's
to.
another
Is
one
it
I've
good?
got. That one's really good.
The only one I ever stopped and I started over again. I mean, I
Really?
got to the end and I'm like, I got to do that again. It was fun.
I'm gonna download it right now as we're talking.
Have you listened to the Dave Grohl one yet? That one's pretty good.
Dave Grohl?
Foo Fighters.
Huh?
The lead singer from Foo Fighters.
I heard that one's amazing.
It's a really good one too. I'm about halfway through that. I'm bouncing between 3 and 4.
That
So
Friends that just died. Apparently, that's a good read. Like
What is?
the guy that just died from Friends.
Matthew Perry.
yeah, Matthew Perry. Yeah,
Apparently, it's a pretty cool story. Like he struggled a lot.
yeah.
A lot. Something.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey's like grounded. Like it's great.
Yeah.
And he reads it himself.
It's called Green Light. Green Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great one.
Yeah, it's downloading right now as we speak. Right now as we speak. But so yeah, Mark, favorite Netflix series? Do you watch Netflix or anything?
Not anymore. We were doing. I got to be honest, man. I'm a feature film guy. Like you're not gonna like this maybe, but I'm a huge Pixar fan.
Me too, man. Me too, bro. Cars and all that. Yes.
They're so well done. They're so well written,
yes.
and characters and stuff. I really like that kind of stuff. And I'm a mad cinephile. Like I have a big home theater at home, and like I just like really old school, like good stuff. I don't know. I mean, I own I probably have it doesn't matter. I have a lot of movies. I own a lot on the iTunes, and I own a lot of physical optical discs, and I watch a lot of features, man. We did a lot of the Star Wars stuff because my wife just worked on The Mandalorian.
Nice.
Oh, awesome!
I'm a Star Wars nerd.
I am too.
Yeah. We all are. It's great.
Yeah. You should see that shit in person. So, dude.
Oh yeah. Another level, right? Yes.
The craftsmanship of the spaceships and stuff are often they're real, like meaning they're freaking physical. They're not CGI. You can walk up to them and look inside the cockpit, and you can touch them, and there's so much work that goes into creating these worlds, the props and the stages and all of the shit around them and the wardrobe and stuff, which is not anything that we have to do with, but it's old school, like American ingenuity into what's the word?
Ingenuity.
Where you're working with your hands and you're crafting stuff, and you have a mastery of different kinds of things, and it's in the film industry, and in Los Angeles where we live, you kind of go, well, where's everybody working? Because you see everybody doing the trees, trimming the trees, and you see all kinds of stuff. You're like, where's everybody working? And then you go into the studios and these massive hangars, where they're making all this content and stuff. You're like, oh, that's where everybody is. Everyone's working in the film industry. And it's not that it's like, ooh, la, la, it's Hollywood. It's hard work. These guys, 14-hour days, they're getting up early. We get up at 4:30 in the morning often with my wife, and we'll hang out for an hour and see her off 6 a.m. so she can get there at 7. She works till 9 p.m. And they get paid well, but man, they're earning it. And they weed out all the knuckleheads. So by the time you get in there, she's been in there plus 20 years. You go to the rap parties or you hang out for a day on the set or something, and they're all chill. They're all smart. They're nobody's knuckleheads because they've weeded them out,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's really cool though to see how when we went on The Mandalorian, just to see the spaceships that are in the show are right there, the big fucking heads of the animals, the creatures, and then I got to go on the volume, which is where they shoot. They have this huge LED screen, this massive stage where the roof and the side of the walls are all 4K or 8K digital panels. So they build everything physically on the stage, and then every wall is extended into the universe. You could be on top of a mountain or top of a fucking skyscraper, and you could have spaceships, or you can be in the spaceship and have the background doing things.
So cool.
That's fucking
the
awesome.
refresh rate is ridiculous because it was made by Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
So it's got, each one of them is so expensive, not only to assemble, but to keep running, and all the technicians and all the software that goes behind the scenes to make all these digital worlds that used to be all in the computer. Well, now they have it in a physical room, like the size of a Boeing hangar. Maybe it's not that big, but it's a hangar that would put a Boeing inside of it, and the entire room is alive with whatever they want. So they can actually just go up, and it's all of a sudden your entire atmosphere goes. Oh, it's just color bars, with circles, and saying, okay, well, there's checking the temperature of each sector or something. And you're like, it's disorienting because it's almost like everything you see behind me all of a sudden just goes and then changes to a different room. But I could turn around and I see it too. It's not in the computer. It's not just for you to see.
Yeah.
And that way all the light reflects off of the spaceship, the visors and all the actors and stuff. You can see it's in the room, so they don't have to fake it anymore. Anyway, my wife's last job was on The Mandalorian, and we talked about what Netflix series. We really enjoy watching the stuff she's worked on also, because she's sitting there going like, oh yeah, or like, oh, we didn't quite get that right, or oh, that worked out really. Usually on The Mandalorian, it's sick. Like, have you guys watched that?
Oh yeah. Every single one.
At least once every 2 or 3 months, I'll go through the whole series again.
All the layers of this, of like the background, the CGI, and everything, how well it blends now. Yeah. It's ridiculously good.
It is. Ahsoka too. Ahsoka is really good.
Which is
Ahsoka. Yeah.
So I don't watch too many series these days. But what do you guys like? Netflix.
Man, I've been watching Peaky Blinders, because some of my UK friends told me I had to watch it, so I've been watching that, which is good. Dude, honestly, I've been watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV. That shit has me laughing, dude. Dude, Roy Kent is my fucking dude, bro. Yes, it's such a great, Roy fucking Kent, yeah. That, and dude, I'm like you. I like a lot of the Pixar movies. Star Wars. I'm a nerd. I don't get a chance to watch a whole lot of TV. Obviously, I'm a full-time dad, husband, podcaster. So doing all this other stuff. I really don't get a lot of time. But when I do, I really enjoy a good movie, and I've really been trying to find me a good movie to watch. The last one I watched was the Indiana Jones one, the last one they just made, right? The one that just released. Which it was decent for what it is, right? But yeah, that's basically what I've been watching here lately is that. So, and watching my son play Fortnite, of course, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be part of the deal, right? Fortnite. That dude, Mark, let me ask you this, dude. Celebrity crush. Who is your celebrity crush?
Girl or boy, or what do you mean? Like actor or like
no, girl. Celebrity crush.
That means like who you think is hot physically looking?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like. So who was my favorite of all time, which proved like that taught me that I'm not gay, is when I fucking saw this girl on TV. It was The Greatest American Hero, and it's the brunette that was his girlfriend.
Yes.
Look it up.
I've seen it. I just
to the iPad. Hang on.
You have a beer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Grab a beer. Go.
Yeah, go grab one. Hey, Daniel, I'm
The Greatest American Hero. All right. I needed that.
Connie Selica, you and I have the same taste.
Matrix. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, there's Trinity and then there's Monica. So which one? Monica Bellucci, the Merovingian's wife.
well, Trinity's the brunette, right?
She's the main girl in the Matrix. Monica Bellucci's the girl in the second and third movies. That's the Merovingian, like the French guy's wife.
Okay, I'm not
the bombshell.
Okay, do you know who else is fucking hot? Who's not a brunette? Is the girl that just starred in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and also Barbie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Margot Robbie. Yeah.
What are you gonna do? She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's you know what I mean? She's really good looking.
Hey, I'm changing over to the iPad, so I'm going to drop out for a split second, but I'll be right back.
You're good.
Chris, while you were gone, we were talking about Trinity from and the other girl from The Matrix is also pretty hot.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I agree 110%, man. And The Matrix, dude, Mark, what a great series The Matrix was, man. That was one. Keanu Reeves is my favorite actor out of anybody in Hollywood.
Oh,
yeah? I've always been a huge Keanu. That's somebody I always wanted to meet in real life is Keanu, right?
You could meet him pretty easily.
You think so?
Oh, he's at all the track days, Chuck Walla, all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm in Roanoke, Virginia. I don't really make it out to California too much.
All over.
I'm going to be there in March.
Yeah.
No,
you can even go to a showroom, I think, and maybe meet him.
Where is Arch? Where is Arch located?
I have to look it up.
All right.
No, he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah. He but the Matrix trilogy was one of my favorites, man. It's kind of like in today's world, right? Everybody's plugged into like the Matrix, social media and all this. So it kind of goes hand in hand. You know, unfortunately, with what I do, I'm a slave to social media, right? I mean, let's just be honest. I am, right? That podcasting, you got to be, you know, along with everything else. You know what, Mark? Though it's also in our sport. Social media is so huge in the motorcycle industry now.
Part of the sport,
you know, and it almost seems like it don't matter how fast you are if you don't have that social media behind you and followers and all that. You know, it's kind of like frowned upon, so to speak.
Oh, you almost need a staff to do it.
You do. It's crazy.
All your companies looking at your following for how do I want to sponsor this guy?
Yeah,
you know, it's like if you're not. I've got a friend of mine. She was a Dainese ambassador. I think she still is, but she's at like 200-something thousand followers. So it's like you almost have to be at like 35, 40,000 people following you to even get looked at. So yeah. It's part of the game, unfortunately now. But you know, you've got good people that are good at it, people that aren't. So
you want to hear something mad?
Yes,
always.
Back to the Matrix. So I got invited to the opening premiere in Los Angeles when they first showed The Matrix for the very first time to a public ever. But it was the premiere, which Keanu Reeves was there, and all the cast was there, and the director was there. And I got invited by a friend who was working the door. He was literally, he got in. And it was
awesome.
And he says, Mark, I can do a +1. You know, I'm literally working like at the t-shirt stand. But I have one. Would you like to go? Like you can sit in there. You'll be in the theater. I'm like, hell yeah, dude, that'd be bad. And I'll give you a free t-shirt. Come with it.
Heck yeah.
There to watch The Matrix for the very first time. And remember, there was new technology in that film where they spun everybody around and like all this stuff. So it was a trip because I had never really been around celebrity at all, or really. And I sat down and I just kind of like Ice Cube, right there. Is this a movie theater? Cube. And I look over here. It was who's the guy from Lost Boys? Who's the guy from Stand By Me? The bad guy.
Sutherland. Keith Sutherland.
Keith Sutherland sitting next, sharing the fucking thing with me. And so of course I'm just like trying to play it cool, you know, just like. So we watched the movie and everyone was just going like, what was cool? I didn't realize it's about the film industry at first. So everybody who made the movie was in the fucking theater and they had never seen it. It's been nearly a year since they did their job. And of course, they go take it to editing, special effects, and post-production, and color correction, and sound, score, redubbing. All the stuff was done outside of all the purviews of the construction guys and this and that. Everyone's got their little departments. nobody gets to see the film until everybody else gets to see the film. So this is the time that they got to see the film. Well, they were screaming at the screen and clapping at every performance and every time. So the very first thing is cool because that Trinity girl, that black-haired girl, that's so fucking hot. She goes running and she runs, and then she like jumps through a window and lands on the ground and pulls her gun out on the floor. She's like, "Get up, Trinity! Get up, Trinity!" You know, something like that. They're all going, "Woo! What a great stunt! What a fucking editing!
That's awesome.
Look at that set! Look at that fucking wardrobe!" And Trinity, the actress, was in the room, and I'm like, "What? That's cool." So here's the end of the story. So I'm walking out. And Keith Sutherland's walking right next to me, and I'm alone because my nerdy friend who's working at the concession stand. I'm by myself, so he seemed to be by himself. So we're walking out, and I could hear he was just because I kind of glanced over a couple times, and Keith Sutherland's kind of just sitting there, just kind of like watching, like going, "Wish I got that role." Keanu Reeves, what the fucking Bill and Ted, like
what fucking Johnny Utah.
But you can tell, like there was like some serious, like, fuck, man, that is some seriously cool shit now. Like that is a whole new level of filmmaking, and the pacing and the fuck is written well. Anyway, so we're walking out, and I just kind of turned to him, and I just couldn't help myself. I said, "Man, that's pretty cool. Huh? What'd you think?" And he's like, "It's changing everything."
It did.
Yeah, it was like
it definitely did.
Like, oh yeah. Anyway, so that's my Matrix story. I just wanted to share that.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's it's dude, Keith Sutherland, The Lost Boys, man, what a legend, right?
I just watched that.
Yeah, I watched it not too long ago too. Actually, me and my son watched it Halloween because he's never seen The Lost Boy. My son loves horror flicks. Mark, he's 11, right? So I remember, man, he might have been 3, and he's in there watching like all these like not like mass murder like Texas Chainsaw, but like normally scary stuff that normal kids don't watch, right? He's laughing, and I was like, okay. So, and then as he got older, he's like, can we watch A House of a Thousand Corpses? I was like,
how old is he?
He's 11 now, right? This was probably when he was like 6 or 7. I was like, no, we can't watch no House of a Thousand Corpses, man. Like it kind of like threw me through a loop, right? So we started with It. You want to watch it?
What year? The original
original one. I said,
80s.
The 80s, the 80s at first, right? I said we'll go start with It, right? The clown and all that. He's laughing. He's like, and then it just kind of started from there. And now he's like, horror flicks comes out. He's like, "Dad, dude, we got to watch this." And I was like, "Okay, let's watch it." You know, and it's just, I've been the type of dad where I don't bullshit my son, and I don't keep him. I don't put him in this protective bubble where everything's always okay and it's never your fault and all this, right? It's this is the world. It's an evil place. People cuss. A lot of people probably gonna kind of disagree with me, but when my son was, I don't know, 4, and we're sitting in it, was driving the car down the street. He was watching Star Wars, and all of a sudden he goes, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm driving. I was like, "What did you just say?" He said, "What the fuck was that, Dad?" I was like, "Well, first of all, I don't know what it was because I'm driving and I'm not watching what you're watching, right?" So he had the concept of cussing. Of course, I grew up in the Navy, so I grew up cussing as a little kid because when you're with a bunch of fighter pilots,
you sound like a sailor,
bro. So, but I was taught, look, when you're at home, it's okay. When you go to school, if you get cut cussing, I'm gonna whoop your ass, right? Like there's a time and a place. So one day I sat down, I taught my son a bunch of cuss words, right? I said, look, people say that these are bad words, right? I don't know who said that these are bad words, but they are inappropriate words. Yes, you hear your daddy say them, okay? Don't always do what I do, right? But I'm gonna teach you these words because I know here, as soon as you get on the school bus, you're gonna hear shit that all kinds of stuff, right? So I just kind of like prepared him, right? But what I'm trying to say is, dude, is he don't go to school and cuss. And he'll come up to me and be like, he'll be playing Fortnite, right? And he'll be like, "Daddy, can I cuss?" I'm like, "You say 2 cuss words," and he'll get them out real quick, and then he'll stop with it, right? So it's actually pretty funny, right? And like we'll have spend the night, and his friends will come over. He'll be like, "Dad, I know, it's usually not cool because the friends are, but I want to show him how cool my daddy is. Can I say 1 cuss word?" I was like, "Go out there and do 3 backflips on the trampoline back to back, and in mid-second backflip, 1 cuss word as loud as you can, just kind of give him just that little bit of freedom, right?" And it's actually paid off pretty well. It might not have been the best thing to do, but
What does his mother think of such things?
So my dad thinks it's fucking hilarious, of course, right? Because he's the pilot. My wife, she's okay with it when we're just here at the house sometimes, and he asks permission. He'll be like, "Look, Mom, is it okay if I do this?" And I'm the cool one, right? So she'll let him sometimes. But when I let him do a little bit more than she likes, of course, that whole whip and yes, queen, my queen, I'm sorry. Oh, it won't happen again, my queen, I'll do all the laundry and mop the floors. No worry, my queen, I got this, Yeah. Everybody knows the game you play, but it's fun, man. It's fun. So what's your plans for 2024, Mark? Are you doing any type of racing?
Oh, the classic stuff just comes up once in a while. I think I would like to maybe go back to the TT for a classic. We've got a couple of liners and stuff. We'll see. I mean, I go back and forth all the time because it's really dangerous. I walked away from it and I felt like it was a pretty successful departure because I did it when people were still asking me to do it.
Yeah.
And I kind of said, okay, look, I'm going to just. And one of the catalysts was my best friend got killed just right in front of me. I had seen personally witnessed maybe 7 fatalities, including one at Macau, or maybe 2, 1.5, because he was anyway. Moral of the story is when my friend hit a tree at 180 miles an hour right there and was a blob of goo with no head and sitting there on the track. And I went by him and just kind of like, who the fuck was that? Because I didn't know who it was at first. And I just kind of like, don't look, you don't need it. I just kind of glanced to see what the color of the leathers were. And then I saw them picking up the bike on another fucking quarter mile away, literally. And I go, oh shit, that was Paul. That was my best friend. I'm like, got the t-shirt. Why don't we just fucking, that's it. We've done this. We got it. We did it. We got the fastest lap time by an American. Still stands today. 46 starts. I'm still alive. Had a nice
win.
So the 2 classic rounds. I'm like, so now though, I'm just going. You can do it again, man. You can do it again. You're still fit. You can do it. You get in better shape than you are. Yeah. Let's go do the classic. Classic can hit a tree just like anything else.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's safe.
Yeah, safer, right?
The thing is, too, is I kind of have an opportunity slightly to go do the big race again, the real one, and I'm like, so now they got me commentating on the damn thing.
I know, and I love it, dude. I love seeing you commentating. Yeah. I'm like, Mark Miller, yes, dude, yes.
They've asked me back again, so there you
go.
I can't ride the bike if I'm up in the tower or I'm down in the fishbowl, we call it. And
well, you've got a job. You've got another job to do over there, so you can't ride. So
Yeah, I'd rather ride though.
Oh yeah, I'm not 100%.
Well, what about getting in the bagger class in Moto America? Would you do that?
I'd try anything if it was without a lot of work on my part. Just saying, I don't want to go and chase it, but those things fly, dude. They're quick. They were just at Willow Springs recently. We were there on a classic exhibition race with the baggers. That was their national series or something. It was their finale, and dude. So it's kind of cool though. At Laguna, when I was on Bill's bike, his amazing Suzuki, we weren't I don't know who the lead was, Kyle Wyman or somebody. I don't know who it was, but it was a fast pro. Yeah. His lap time and the second place bagger was where I went, and the second or third bagger was my lap time on a classic in 1978 or whatever. And then everyone else was behind at the Laguna at Willow Springs last week, just talking about baggers. My classic bike, which is very competent, and Curtis Adams, who I was racing with, our lap times were better than any bagger there, except for one guy on one lap in qualifying went a little quicker by a couple tenths. Moral of the story is the baggers ain't fucking like they're not slow.
No, they're not.
They are heavy and they're expensive. They don't crash very well. And I'm probably too old for that shit. I don't know. If it was
Hayden Gillum showed up at the track that I coach at up in Bowling Green. He showed up with the full Vance and Hines truck. It was him, and because he had just won the championship, so he's out playing with, getting some testing done for next year. JD Beach shows up on it. He looks like an Ewok on a speeder bike on that thing. And then there's an English journalist over there ripping on it too, and watching watching those guys slide those things at 620 pounds, it's just bonkers.
It is.
And all Hayden's doing coming out of the pit lane is wheelies. He's got the thing hung on the back fender, just whoa. And I'm just sitting there going, I got nothing. I can't do that. It's just
Gary Vance was at Willow Springs last week.
Yeah.
Time I've seen him in forever. But dude, one of those things accelerated out of the pits. We were right on the wall, and he just and I couldn't believe it how fast it accelerated. I mean, what is it, like a 1400 or something?
Yeah,
it's Harley is a 130 cubic inch, 131 cubic inch, I think. And then the Indian's limited to a 117 because it's liquid cooled. So from my understanding, it's the most power anyone has gotten out of a Harley motor of that size ever. So I'm thinking like the trap speeds they're doing at Road America are comparable to super sport bikes.
Is that right? That's
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? Oh,
like V2s, them at Daytona, they were hitting high 170s, low 180s at Daytona.
That's getting.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
that's a lot of mass trying to slow down.
That's a watch, I gotta admit.
Yeah, oh, dude, they're and I think they're actually helping Moto America grow. I'll say that, right? I think they're actually helping one of the classes that's bringing outside sponsorship, other people in, outsiders that normally wouldn't come to the races. So it's really good for the sport. It really is. So Mark, let me ask you this, man. What's the craziest rental car story you got, man? Hanging out with all these cool racers and you ever destroy a rental car or yeah. So let's hear some of those.
Well, there's the only things I can remember because I was usually pissed drunk while I was driving. I'm passionate, but back in the day they used to give rental cars in Macau, and I know Barney flipped one and a couple stuff. By the time I got there, they stopped it. But you know who Richard Stamboli is from?
Yeah.
So we were like brothers for a while. We were very friendly. We were very close, and we used to always end up with the whole NASCAR thing, man. On the way home, we'd get from either the restaurant or the track to the restaurant or whatever. And there was once where just stupid shit. I mean, it's just exactly what you'd expect. One of the fun things was he hit me once from behind without me knowing. I thought we had called a truce because we were fucking around and stuff and bumping each other because bumpers, they're for bumpers, right?
Right.
Bumping. But he got banned from Hertz for life or something, or he got literally like he would get the insurance, and just like a Jackass movie, and I'm not even joking, I'm not making this up, he would turn the car back in and just go, "Got the insurance, love ya, thanks," and walk away. And they'd be calling him and go, "Hey, you destroyed the car." He's like, "Yeah, but I got the insurance." He's like, it wouldn't compute how terrible we were and how awful we were and how arrogant. But one time,
like the days of Thunderbit.
I thought we had called the truce, and we were going down. We were like Wisconsin or something, whatever, going pretty high speed, right? I'm doing like 90. We're going just all black as far as you guys know. These roads are just 2 lanes with overpass every once in a while, the grass in the center. So I'm doing like 90. I'm like, oh, I gotta get home safely. All of a sudden, I just go, boom, and I just get rear-ended by Stamboli at like 110.
Oh no.
Lifted up my car, and I think the airbags went off, and so that sticks out. I got one more. Do you know who Jimmy Moore is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Bike Week at Daytona, him and I got a rental car. I splurged on a convertible Mustang, and we had the top down. We were cruising during the day. It was a day off, whatever. And I think Pegram, who's also a rental car hooligan for life, like he's famous for it, he was bumping me at the traffic light, and it's surrounded by people at a traffic light. As far as you can see, there's old ladies and stuff. It's Florida. Well, I put it in reverse. He puts it in. He had a front-wheel drive car. I had a rear-wheel drive car, and we started getting on the gas. And the two bumpers, I guess we were like this, but my rear wheel starts smoking and his front wheel starts smoking, and we're literally like dancing the front and the rear of the car, pressing together. And the lady next to me couldn't comprehend what was going on, because to some people a car is sacred. It's like, oh, it carries our family in there, and when we sell it, we're crying. We were all sad because we're going to say goodbye to the car that took us to school every day. And the car is part of the family. It's like a dog, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Us assholes who are like 24 years old, and we got these 2 rental cars. We don't give it. It's a piece of machinery. It's nothing to it's nothing.
And we got insurance.
So she rolls her window down and she says, I'll never forget it, because she was dead serious. She wasn't like putting on she was a white lady, and she's just like, what are you guys doing? Are you crazy? Because we were sitting there fucking spinning our tires and bumping, scratching our fucking precious cars. We had the music cranked up and we were just laughing.
Well, Jeremy Clarkson always said the fastest car in the world's a rental car. So
Right.
We were pretty good at like rallying those things. Like if it had a foot e-brake, you pull back the spring and go, and you get pretty good at like pressing it and then getting off it and nailing the gas. We used to drift them around like really. We got pretty good at it. It's funny because I think about it now and I go, I wouldn't want to do that with my own personal car right now. Like I might fuck it up and like, boom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back then we'd do it like 24 hours, like every minute we're in the car, we're just like, It's amazing how good you are at Tony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing how good you are at getting away with shit. It's amazing how good you are at getting away with shit.
I mean, look, Mark has won a world championship at MotoGP, what, at 20 or 21 or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
crazy.
Beating Rossi, like that's like so young, but you're pretty good at that age. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
How old are you guys right now? Can I ask?
Yeah. I'm 46.
I'm 39. I turned 40 in March.
You're a baby, man.
I'm a child. But fun thing is, 8 days after I turned 40, I'm coming out to Southern California and spending a vacation. And
how long are you going to be here? Are you going to be anywhere close?
I will be. I'm thinking about staying in Newport Beach. I haven't decided where I'm staying yet.
Are you alone or no?
Yeah, I'll be alone. I'm going down because I grow my hair out and it's down bottom of my back. And there's a company that I get some of the stuff that I use. They're trying to break the world record again for amount of hair donated in a day, and they send it all to this charity out of Michigan that's children with hair loss. So kids that cancer, alopecia, that kind of thing, they make wigs out of it. They're trying to break the world record again. Last time they did it was like 391 pounds of hair donated in 24 hours. So they're having a big thing in San Diego right at like the next weekend after I turn 40. So it's like, I'm going to fly in, I'm going to rent a bike, I'm going to spend a few days in Southern California and ride around, go do that. I've got 2 buddies that live down in San Diego and just screw around for 6 days and, hang out.
Is there any way we could get together for a beer?
I would utterly love that. I was going to ask you if you wanted to. I was going to ask, the first thing was like, is the Rock Store worth going to during the week? Because I want to go ride up that way.
Only to see it, but it's Saturday or Sunday is just packed. But when the weather's good, but
100%.
Eyeballs on it,
love to get up and grab a beer with you. Love that.
Let's do it.
Absolutely, I will. 100%.
What are the dates that you're going to be around?
Yeah, I'll send you the dates and
tell me now.
March 13th through the 19th.
So it's a little while yet.
Yeah, it's a little while yet. So
December.
But yeah, no, I was gonna like ask you, like, hey, I'm gonna be in town. If you want to get together, I probably owe you a pint for all of the entertainment that you've given riding.
If you get close to my neighborhood, you could sleep here for a night.
Look, man, we'll figure it out. We'll definitely figure it out.
Man, I don't have a shooting range like Colin Edwards in the backyard, but
right.
Look, dude, I don't care. It's no big deal.
We can play some
100%
little driving setup,
That's it. Yeah, that's awesome.
100%. It would be an honor.
Yeah, I got a spare office, and we have a little bed set up for. It's not small, but yeah.
It would literally be an honor.
Let's do it. I've known you on Facebook for years, bro.
Huh?
I've known you on Facebook for years.
Yeah. The previous podcast I was on, we shouted you out when you retired. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah. We've been friends on Facebook for a while too, Mark.
Chris Simcoe.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been friends on Facebook for a hot minute. But let me ask you this, man. If you could pick any motorcycle and any teammate, what would it be?
To race? Very good question. Well, short circuit or roads?
Both. Let's do them both. Shorts and roads.
I would say for short circuit, that R71, that fucking R7 chassis, it just worked. It's probably similar to what they still have geometry wise with Quattanaro and whatnot. Wow, it works so well. Brand new Yamahas. Like I went out and I was in Sicily not that long ago doing a big fucking shootout with all the top of like all the brand new Hondas with the big wheel, the mag wheels, and the whole top of line. And I tell you, the Yamaha, the way that thing works, it's not fast, but it's in the corners and on the brakes and the feel. So R71 for short circuits. On the roads, I want Hickman's 136 mile an hour stalker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fast.
I just want let's give it a try. Like how fast can the rest of us go on it?
Right.
And by the way, his tech guy who was on a podcast just recently was talking about it in great detail, what he does with Peter on his data. And he was my guy at Macau one year with Split Lab.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Oh, dude. Like I was watching the podcast going, you bastard. I wish we had that technology back then because he's super good at it. But anyway, so Peter Hickman's BMW for the roads and an R71 for short circuits.
And teammates.
Teammate. Gosh. I would have to, man, that's so weird. Has anyone asked you these kinds of questions? They're so, I would like to be teammates with Scott Russell because I know we would help each other go faster because he ain't going to be an easy win inward.
No.
And I wouldn't either. I would want to try to beat him, and I know how talented he is. And also the afterlife, the after parties and stuff. So let's say Scott Russell's a teammate. Is that it? Just one?
No. Keep going. Yep. Scott. So Scott Russell for short circuits. Who would be? What you'd want to be your teammate on the roads?
I was going to say some really fun guys, but actually that would be a bad influence. There's a couple. Do you know Davo Johnson?
Davo Johnson, unfortunately lost his life. No, Davo Johnson didn't. Yeah, we're talking about Davey Morgan. Sorry. Yeah.
Davey Morgan, I knew well. I mean, we went many years. We raced together. Davo Johnson and I were teammates at Macau one year. But I would love to be teammates with Paul Shoesmith, my good friend that got killed.
Yeah.
And he was my best mate. It would be nice to have him around.
Yeah.
And Mark Buckley too. But it's a tricky one. I like everyone's chill, dude. Like in the roads, you're incapable of bullshit. So there's not a lot of egos. There's not a lot of, and it's also not like numbnuts. It's not like bucktooth dorks either. They're fucking intelligent dudes who have the capacity to ride super fast while also risking their life or death, literally death. And afterwards they're up for a pint, like they're not snobby, but they're also not alcoholic fucking assholes either. So it's a really cool breed. The real roads racers are always, and I'm talking about the good guys, like the guys that even David Morgan was one of these guys that had been around a long time. I could not fucking believe he got killed last year. Before, because I hadn't been to the TT for a few years. My last one was 17 or 16 or something like that. I said, I just got to walk away from it. I don't want to, I don't want to be, got to just have a break because it's really part of your life. And when I went back to do the commentating the very first year, which was 2 ago, Davey Morgan saw me, and we were always a little bit of a rival because his wife always said, "Why you let that American beat you?" And blah, blah, blah. It was fun. It was cool. But he saw me right before he went out and got killed. Yeah. He saw me. I was working for Manx Radio TT, and he's like, big smile. He's like, "What's up, Mark? Hey, it's good to see you back. It's fucking cool to see you in the pits." He had a 3 years off too.
Yeah,
3 years off, and I think COVID or whatever. He's like, he started like going kind of like, "Oh, I need to go back. I need to go back." He had stopped and then came out of retirement, and he went out minutes after I shook his hand and on a 600.
Hello. Say hi to everybody, Rossi. My boy's tired.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a long day at work.
12:34.
Look, Rossi's like, it's time for bed, Daddy. Y'all hear him? He says, it's time for bed, Daddy. Let's go. It's 12:30, dude. Let's roll. All right, listen. Give me a few minutes, and I'll be in there. Yeah, he's like, come on, Dad. Let's roll.
That's cool. Well, we should let you go.
Yeah, it's cool. But listen, dude, what an honor, dude. You're right. With 2 hours and 33 minutes, we've been going at it. Yeah. I know it don't even seem that long.
It doesn't.
So listen, Mark, it would be an honor to have you back on again. So let's do it. Let's set up. We'll set up a time and date. Obviously off air or whatever. But yes, listen, what an honor it is, man.
Thank you. It's an honor to meet with you guys.
Honored to talk to you. It is.
Yeah. It's. You know, like I said, we should have a statue of Mark Miller here in the United States. Dude, I swear to God, bro, no bullshit.
Russell made like come on.
Yeah.
It's cool to talk to you guys. It's really cool to be part of this, and thank you so much. I know you always hear, "Oh, thank you for having me." It's like, no, thank you for fucking having me. Seriously.
Yeah, no, me too, man. It's an honor for sure. 100%.
It's nice to talk to like-minded people. It's kind of rare, you know. Like you don't really get that often these days. Like unless you're in the racing guys. We're not racing full time. It's not like you're static with the family every day. It's nice to talk to you guys because we're all very similar in the way we think.
Absolutely, and I love it, man. It's I'm getting a lot of comments now. Great podcast, guys. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait till next time. Yeah, absolutely, I can. It's an honor. So listen, Mark, how can people listen to you on the commentary on the TT? I tell everybody to subscribe to the app, right? The TT
app.
App.
It's like $14 or
it's cheap
bucks or something. If you want to watch it live, they've got, I don't know where I'm going to be this year. Last year I was up in the tower, so I was 11 days up in the tower live. But for every minute the bikes were on track, me and another guy were yapping the whole time. It was like it was so hard because I'm not a commentator. I've never liked commentators that much, although the TT commentators are amazing. But guys like other guys, it's hard to listen to. Anyway, there's an app that you can get to watch. It's called like TT Plus.
Yep,
TT Plus. Watch every minute of practice, or more importantly, watch every minute of the race. And it was such a great year because the weather was so good last year.
It was.
Every record dropped. We had great close racing, and Hickman and Dunlop, and you got Dean Harrison.
Yeah.
If you've even never watched the TT before, I honestly, I'm just saying, like, tune in. And you get sucked in. My sister, who's never been on a motorcycle in her last few years ago, she started watching the TT because I was involved. And she's like the biggest fan now.
Good. That's awesome.
And she's just like knows all the names. Oh, where's McGinnis? And he's going to come back next year. Like it's so cool because it's really good. And it's drama. I mean, meaning it's real. There's something at stake. It's not nonsensical. It's really, really cool. Like because there's some risk involved.
It is, and you know what? Real quick, man. What gets me is it's not Peter Hickman doing the 136, 8, 9, 50 billion miles an hour, right? To me, it's the sidecars, and it's not the sidecars. It's the monkey sitting in the side. That's the craziest motherfucker at the TT in the world there is. That because it's like, holy shit, right?
Yeah,
bro. Those guys are just plumb mental. I mean,
I never knew much about it. I never had a lot of respect until I ran out of gas and I had to wait for an entire session of watching sidecars go by. It's two dudes sharing one caption, one bike, and they're doing it together, and their lap times are 120 mile an hour average over 38 miles.
Dang.
Two dudes on it. It's like having your fucking girlfriend on the back of your motorcycle. It's like, it would be so fun to share that with somebody.
It would be. You know what? I would love to ride in one.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's physically fit, the monkey guy, whatever the passenger.
Dude. Yeah, the monkey is what we call it. Yeah.
When they're scraping their ass on the ground and they're on the walls, and I agree.
Wild.
Bro. Like I said, they got the biggest balls of everybody.
They leave black marks on the exit of the corners. They don't even slow down half the time. I think it's 70% of 38 miles. They don't lift.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they're running 600 motors. They don't run They don't run thousands because I think it's like Formula 2 rules or something like that. But yeah, it's a very good
everywhere. Yeah, and they're really wound up. They have to change the 600 engines, I think the good guys every practice.
Yeah.
They're only worth like 64 minutes each, and then they're gone. You know what I mean? It's like some ridiculously tuned thing, because it's the weight of two guys plus a whole chassis with 3 wheels, but they leave black marks out of the corners that they're I don't know scale on the video, but like a 12-inch rear width on a tire, and they come out, and you're just like, I had no idea they were so badass. Like they're actually cool, like really fast.
It's fucking mental what they do. I'm like, holy shit, man, are you kidding me right now? But anyway, listen, until next time, Daniel, is there anything you want to say before we get off of here?
Honestly, I don't think I have anything I can say, because Mark's answered every question I could have thought of. And I do have a story that we were talking about, racers getting crazy. I have a story that I can tell off air.
Okay.
Can't let it out. Chris, I think I've told you this story, but Mark would appreciate this story too. All right. So I'll tell that story when we get off there.
Yeah. We'll be off here in a second. So listen, I just want to say real quick before we get off here, again, Daniel Shoemake, mate, what an honor it is to have you on as a co-host. Mark Miller, my man, what an honor it is to finally meet you and have you on this podcast. I can't wait till next time. You are a true legend, my friend. It really is. I'm just grateful in this lifetime that's this short, right? That I get to sit here and do this with a legend as yourself, okay? And third of all, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that likes and subscribes to Pin to Gas, everybody that always watches, shows all the love and support, everybody tonight. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. That's it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did doing it. Until next time, I'm the host, Chris Show Simcoe, my man Daniel Shoemake, and absolutely the legend himself, Mark Miller.
Thank you.
All right, hang on one second.